Everybody, and welcome to the Town Hall meeting. This is episode number 14, and today we got a special one. It's gonna be an old school episode with these fellow dinosaurs that I invited. Welcome, guys. It's gonna be great to hear from you. I'm just gonna, I guess, introduce everybody briefly in case some of you guys somehow don't know who these guys are. So we got VankOr, a Greek undead player who's been around for a very long time and still plays. He was in Anaheim. He was at Iron Couch. This guy's got so much passion. How are you doing, VankOr?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks.
Thank you for joining us. We got RotterdaM. I mean, this guy, he's still around. He's still doing the same old tricks, still playing video games, streaming at StarCraft every day. And yeah, old school Warcraft 3 player who played Orc, StarCraft 2. Almost professional, I want to say. This guy's beating actual pros these days and streaming quite a bit, casting every tournament that there is. And apparently from Nigeria, I saw, because there was a RotterdaM flag on social media, which people keep mistaking for Nigeria somehow. I guess they're going to mistake France's flag for Netherlands soon.
I know, I saw that. I was like, that's actually kind of clever. And then everyone was like, she's really from Nigeria. Like, well, you guys are so funny. I actually thought it was a nice touch. But I'm doing good, Todd. I think you gave me a good intro. Every day is the same. Right now we have to stay at home. I'm really good at that. I've practiced that for the last 20 years of my life, guys. So I'm smashing it.
Nice. We got Shortround in the house. Also super old school player from USA who's one of the best American players to, I think, ever play the game. And Night Elf player. How's it going, Dennis?
It's going real good. As Rai said, I've been practicing up, staying at home. I've got that down pat.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is a blast for the past for me to hang out with you guys. It's nice.
Thank you for joining us. Creolophus, Mr. Popular. You know, when I made the announcement for this show, we keep hearing about Creolophus. People are hyped to hear about you, Creo. Yeah, old school Night Elf from Norway who played for Team 4 Kings and won the WCG where everybody was counting him out. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, really good. It's fun to join the old world once again and see how you guys are doing. Yeah. And I've still followed the scene, but not being active myself, so it's fun to join and see if we can pick up some fun topics tonight.
Yeah. Oh, Insomnia is joining us. Hello, Inso.
Hey, what's up?
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
How are you doing? So I just introduced our guest. I guess I'll introduce you to Insomnia. For those of you who've been living under a rock, he's an old school human player from Bulgaria, one of the best to ever do it. Actually, I have to confess, one of my first idols when I played the game. I was really looking up to him quite a bit. How are you doing, Insomnia?
I'm doing pretty good. Thank you. Thanks for the kind introduction.
Yeah. Todd, before you go on, the very first thing I have ever heard of seen of esports was Insomnia with the check. So you could say that Insomnia inspired me as well. I saw a nerd holding a check of I don't know how many thousands of dollars for a Warcraft tournament. I was like, I want in. That's it.
For WCG or?
Yeah, 2003. That's the first thing, the first article, news, or games I've ever seen in esports history.
Yeah.
A picture of Inso.
Yeah, I remember that check.
How much was it for?
10K?
20K.
Oh, 20.
Yeah. 10K I wouldn't remember, but 20, that's like the sweet spot. Okay, so I guess I'd love to know what you guys have been up to, right? Because clearly none of you guys is like playing Warcraft 3 super actively, like, participating in a ton of tournaments. I guess VankOr would be the one who plays a few here and there, but let's start with you, Insomnia. Like, what is real life these days for you? I guess not necessarily just these specific days because we're in pretty crazy times. But what have you been up to?
Yeah, well, you got a job now,
Yeah.
Working as a software developer.
Okay. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that I played poker for about 5 years after gaming. And then I picked up this programming.
Nice. What about you, Creo?
Actually, it's the same area, the same job type as Inso. I studied, I went at university after I quit gaming. Then I started as a software developer. I had like 2 years because during the financial crisis, it was like downtime in Norway, so I got to travel work-related for about 2 years. And then just moved back home, got married, 2 kids, built a house, and all the A4 standard stuff.
Do your kids know
That's me now.
that their dad is a WCG champ who beat Sky in the finals?
I should probably show them the YouTube videos at some time, but not yet. I try to keep the addictive parts of them low.
Yeah.
In terms of gaming.
Do you know that meme, like, sit down, I'm going to tell you a great story? That's the
yeah, now I really feel old.
VankOr?
What about me?
You don't have to say if you don't want to. You're just freelancing, right?
Well, I hope the IRS is not watching, so... Oh yeah, I started playing poker as soon as I quit playing gaming. I wasn't really playing gaming professionally. Like, I was playing, but I wasn't that dedicated. So yeah, then I went to study. I was studying computer science for 1 year. Then I dropped off. I actually passed all the classes, but I knew I wouldn't make it next year. Things were getting tough. So I started playing poker online and was doing good. And yeah, that's what I do pretty much since then. I was playing online for 5 years, and I slowly transitioned into live cash games and tournaments. So I pretty much travel all around the world and play poker for a living.
All right. Dennis?
Yeah, so I was playing Warcraft 3 professionally when I was in college studying biology, but I realized, like, I don't want to become a doctor. That's just not for me. So I quit that and started playing poker like everyone else. Got trained up a little bit by Etched. He was like really good at poker back then.
Yeah.
I'm making a ton. And so I traveled around, ended up living actually with Yon and Todd in China for a little while, playing poker together, poker house, that sort of stuff. But since then moved on to game production. So the past like 7 or 8 years, just been doing like product management in mobile games. But recently I quit that to start working on my own PC project. So trying to make my own PC indie game now.
All right.
Nice.
Kev, you want to do this anyway?
I mean, I thought you already kind of did me, but yeah, obviously, guys, after Warcraft, I mean, I was casting pretty much till the very end of Warcraft. Like, even in 2010, I was still casting Warcraft. And then I played a little bit of Heroes of New Earth for a while, but then StarCraft 2 came out. At first, I was like, you know what? Let's see if I can still get good. And I was actually not going too bad. Like, I started off horrible, but after a month, I felt like I was already like top 80 or top 90 in Europe. So I was like, okay, we're heading in the right direction. But then I got a job from ESL, or at least a job offer. I knew there was one available. So I was like, we're getting a little older. That's what I thought back then. So imagine how I feel right now. But I was like, I'm getting a little older. So maybe instead of playing, I should try to actually work in the industry. So then I got hired by ESL. A year and a half later, I moved to America to work for NESL. I lived in LA for 4 years, and then I came back because I could still work there, but most of my work was just around the world, so not necessarily in LA. Like, sometimes it was, but more often than not, I even had to go to Europe, so it was kind of pointless to live there. And yeah, that's kind of what I still do right now. A little less casting, more streaming over the last few years, but still pretty much cast every single big StarCraft event. So stream if I don't travel, and if I do travel, it's for StarCraft.
Okay, let's start the walk down memory lane here and like start talking about some of the old school tournaments. We'll start with Insomnia. I feel like I kind of wanted to go like chronologically. I'm not sure when everybody exactly started playing. I expected that the 3 like guys that started playing at first initially were Dennis, Wizard, and Inso. So yeah, we'll start with Inso. So the first tournament that you have listed as the oldest tier 1 tournaments that you participated in Inso, like I know you were a Brood War pro before that, is CPL Cannes 2003. Wow. Do you remember much from this?
Oh yeah, I do. I remember meeting you for the first time at that tournament.
What was I like?
You was like 13. Something like that. Actually, I I got an image that I found from that tournament that I wanted to share with you.
Wow,
You do?
sick.
There we go.
I'm not in that, but I think you're gonna love it.
Where do you share it? Can you send it to me on Discord?
Yeah, I think that should work. It's the old Arma team.
Oh yeah, there's some.
A bunch of you guys.
Wait, my hair is shaved a bit. Yeah. Oh my god. I'm not even looking at the camera. What is this?
What?
So this is Bloody. There's Bloody, Lewilis, the shaved head with the red tracksuit in the middle is me.
This is Bloody, yeah.
And then there is Shore, that's Overmind, that's Intox. Yeah, that's pretty sick actually.
I have seen this picture actually.
I remember this picture.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
I think we made memes about it before memes existed.
But, so how about the tournament? Like, do you remember your run through it, kind of?
It's one of the most memorable tournaments that I had.
Really?
Yeah, I'll never forget that final against Intox.
And it was with the Ancient of Wars, I guess. Right?
So you remember it too?
Yeah. I read about that.
Yeah, that one. I remember coming from the loser bracket. I think I lost to him in the winner bracket final, and in the grand final I won the first one, like 1-2, and then I was one game ahead, and we were playing for the final. It either gets the series get tight or I win. And I remember doing a tower rush into his base, and then I started the town hall pretty cockily, and then I lost in the end. I remember it was like a 50 minutes game.
And he got probably
Quite
like Demon
sad.
6, right?
He got Demon 6, yeah, and Keeper 6 at both odds. So it was.
But you had a sick
Yeah.
run like in the tournament. I remember like back then, I just thought it was so competitive. There were so many good players. Like we were kind of at the dawn of the game. But like if you look at the bracket, like I see Fatsy, He-Man, Shore, Zeus in there, DD8. Like everywhere, every bracket that I look in, like you played against Seagull, who back then was like one of the better orcs that we had in Europe from Greece.
Yeah, he was tower rushing everybody.
He didn't tower rush Insomnia, I tell you that.
He tried to. I believe he tried to.
Oh, really? Yeah, Survivor was one of the best players as well. We had Bloody. Intox was in there, obviously. Intox was going into this tournament, in my mind, as the favorite because I had been practicing with him. I'm pretty sure I forfeited my match against him so we wouldn't reveal the strat that he was going to do. Basically, so that people wouldn't see it. Yeah, we wanted to make sure that nobody was going to see it. So I didn't even play. And then like he beat Bloody, he beat Soul, who then switched to Night Elf the next tournament. But yeah, you had a sick run yourself. Like you beat Chills, who was a very good player from France. Then you meet DD8 in the semis. You remember those games as well?
Not as good as I remember the games against Intox, no.
Like going to the finals, you play against Intox and he's using like these trees that just uproot and never die. After the first time it happens, like what are you even thinking? How are you going to counter this?
I'm thinking mortars. I'm thinking I'm making mortars. This is easy. It didn't turn out that way.
And
Elf was disgusting. But interesting. Yeah, disgusting and interesting.
And going into the tournament, were you confident you were gonna like go very deep or win, or like what were you aiming for? Because it was the start of the game. We didn't really know who was gonna perform.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's true. But at that point, I had already won the largest online tournament, and so I was confident to at least get top 4.
Yeah,
that was my goal before that tournament. I remember.
And then after the grand finals, did you think that if you have to play against Intox again sometime in the near future, you would be able to win?
Yeah, I thought so before the games as well.
That's more than I could say about myself. I was pretty sure I was never going to beat that until he got nerfed. And actually, he did get nerfed later on, but not before there was more tournaments. There was Click Arena, right? Remember that?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
You had forgot about this one, didn't you?
I want to forget about it.
Yeah,
it's one of the 2 tournaments that scammed me from the prize money.
Oh, they did, yeah. Oh my god. These days.
Where was it?
in France somewhere, like Toulouse maybe. Or?
Toulouse, yeah.
Okay.
It was exactly 1 month, 1.5 months later.
Yeah.
After the CPO Cannes.
And you know, Sol, who finished 4th in Cannes, in Toulouse, he played Night Elf and he made the finals. And he lost to the...
I remember.
They were just massing Enchant of Force and Glaive Throwers, both of them. It was pretty sick. Nice balance.
And all the Korean players. You remember there were 4 Koreans at that tournament as well.
There was more than 4, no?
At least 4 that I remember, which was kind of rare for a European tournament to gather that many.
Actually, I can find it on Wikipedia. Let's see if we can see the players, maybe. Yeah, there was Medusa, NEP, Showtime. There was more for sure. And yeah, you took 3rd in that one. Wait, Sol played Human against you?
Yeah, he was Human at that point, and then we played again on WCG. He was Human again.
Yeah, but he played Night Elf in the finals against Didi, right? Like he's listed as Human on the page here.
Yeah, I think it was Mirror.
And Elki was there, actually. I remember Elki was he lost to Ranger, like the Russian undead. Like they played on like Plunder Island and stuff, and like he grabbed the dragons with gargoyles. And Elki was like, I think he was super tilted. I think he got up and like stormed out of the room.
He had quite the attitude at that point.
Let's see, what else? I think shortly after that, I'm gonna try and keep up with like the tournament list that I got here from Liquipedia. There was World CyberGames.
Nope, you're missing one. Actually, the first tournament where you beat me, you're missing.
Oh, ESWC? Where's that not listed?
ESWC 2003, yeah, in Paris.
Let me see. Oh, you remember that very fondly, I see. The first tournament where you beat me. Like,
He's like, that's I knew when I would retire. Like,
that was my final game in that tournament. Of course, I remember that.
Oh my god! Like it's so weird to me, this tournament, because again, like I feel like I was like a young kid, and then I was going into it, and I saw all these names, and I was like a fanboy of like so many of them. Showtime was there, and Showtime was like the big star in Warcraft 3 back then. And then I played him, I think, in the first group stage. Where is it? Well, I thought, yeah, no, there he is. I played him in the first group stage. I played him on Lost Temple, which back then we didn't even really know was like the most broken map for humans. So I beat him and I was like, that's it? Like, yeah, so, and in this tournament, between quarterfinals, I was pretty surprised actually.
So was I.
What happened, Inso? What happened for you to lose to me?
I remember fighting against Water Elementals with Griffins.
Yeah,
It was a mistake that I made.
Yeah, actually, an all Swedish finals here. It was Sweden against France in semis with Fatsi taking on Heeman. I thought Fatsi was going to be the favorite, but Heeman really played insane this tournament. And then I got smashed by Mad Frog. I was so nervous. You know, we were playing on stage, and we had to wear heart rate monitors. And already, like, I was feeling so nervous. And then in the interview in the pregame, Mad Frog say, "I'm gonna beat this guy easy." And I was thinking, what a piece of shit! Like, I lost all respect for this guy. I was so tilted. And then I played really bad, and like got demolished. I was pretty sad. I lost the third place match against Fatsi as well. But yeah, like lots of familiar names. Wizard was in there, made top 8s. He's gonna be joining us later. I think Robbie was in that tournament, and he played Night Elf back then as well.
Yeah, he played Night Elf. Yeah.
Took first in his group, then lost to Fatsi and Wizard. Yeah, did you guys follow the scene back then? Like Kev, like I think you started later, right?
Yeah, no, I was playing 2v2 back then on the American server, okay? So like once in a while I read something about a tournament and like I did remember that final that he mentioned because I think everybody on Replayers back then, that's the only thing I read. They were all talking about the legendary AOWs and I think I downloaded the replays and that's why I remember that, but
yeah,
I don't really remember those tournaments. That was a little bit before I really started following it closely.
Creo, what about you?
Yeah, it's kind of the same. I was at the time having like an ADSL broadband, which I was allowed to use by my parents like 1 hour a day. So every replay I could gather, I would download and I would watch it later when I was not connected to the internet. So at this time, I was like picking up the games And of course, these a lot of these tournaments like ESWC, we had just one participant from each country. Of course, the big countries like France had 3, but we usually had one guy to root for. So Dominator was representing Norway for many of these, and I think I watched pretty much all the Night Elf games I could get my hands on.
What about you, Dennis?
I remember my earliest start. I didn't actually know esports was a thing at all back then. I was just playing games, whatever, and I saw like a banner ad on the Battle.net launcher. On the top, it was like an old computer company, and it was like win money in your pajamas. And I was like, what the hell is this? And it was like $10,000 or something. So I was like, well, I'm playing ladder, and like I feel like every time I play, I just beat whoever I face. So I'm like, I might as well give it a shot. I ended up taking second place, and I lost to Czech Poo at the time. Or it was like, yeah, Poo Clan, like Czech, whatever. Yeah. He was like pretty good back then. And I remember I beat him the first game, and then he copied my strat, games 2 and 3, and beat me with it. And I was like, oh, fuck. So that was pretty sad.
What tournament was that?
It was a Comp USA tournament.
Okay.
I don't know the name, it was just the company ran it. And then I remember it was like maybe a month ago or a week after that, or just a very short time after, like he used that same strat and ended up winning some other tournament in Korea and beat everyone else back then too.
What was the strat?
I think it was just like Tree of Life Fast Expand, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you saying you popularized that build?
I don't know if I popularized it, but I remember
I opened up with a hero, okay, and he copied me in game 2. Can you believe it? He made a hero too. This piece of shit.
I remember back in the day, Tillerman was really famous, like on the like US servers.
Yeah.
Or maybe, and everyone thought he was like the best player. And I remember I played him like a bunch of custom games, and that like after because I was like pretty good on ladder, and I beat him like 7-0 or something like that using like Tree of Life or. I think it was just Tree of Life Fast Expand. I don't think it was using Ancient War.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't think people were doing it before then, but I don't know for sure. So.
Kev, you want to cue the impression? I can see.
I still mention Tillerman every stream. I'm like, the human army is better than my army. Nothing I can do. Look at it. So much damage. This is nothing you can do. That's all I can think of.
So sick. Okay, we had CyberXGaming in 2004 after that. So that was in Las Vegas. That was my first trip abroad. Like this tournament.
They didn't pay either, right? They didn't.
No, they didn't. A lot of like a common theme between the
every tournament in 2004 did not pay. We had events, guys. They just didn't pay.
Yeah. That was my first trip outside of France, and this trip and tournament is the reason I speak English today, because it gave me so much motivation to study after that. But that was the first, I think, big result of Grubby, where he won the tournament, and then Wizards took second in this one, Insomnia third, Zeus fourth. Wow. And then we had Dedicato and Seaweed in there. I lost to 2 teammates this tournament, I think. I lost to Seaweed and Inso, if I remember correctly. You got revenge, Insomnia, for ESWC. Congrats.
Thank you. They didn't pay that money that
Shit. Do you remember your run in this?
I remember the finals. I remember playing against Wizard and losing to him. I remember the losses better than I do the wins.
Yeah. What happened in the games?
I remember the game with Plunder IO. I started pretty good. I managed to surround his harassing warden with 5 peasants. The first time I ever did that. I was pretty impressed by myself. Yeah. If I still remember it that day, to that day. But yeah, then the games went on, and don't remember that much details. But I remember large armies clashing, and human usually loses in those.
Yeah. Who were you staying with in this at this event?
I think we were mostly SK guys. I remember the last night at that event, we went to your room. I remember an accident which you don't remember that.
With what?
You don't remember that you had to send me a packet afterwards from France to Sofia?
Did I? No.
You don't remember me taking your passport by an accident, going to the airport in the morning just to find out that I don't have my passport?
Wait, you took my passport?
You don't remember any of that?
No, what happens?
Well, I remember we spent the last night was in your guys' room.
Yeah.
I don't remember were you sharing it, but we were drinking there some Jack Daniels and stuff. And
So now I know why Todd doesn't drink anymore.
And I remember it was during the time of CES. So there were signs in all hotels. You need to be at the airport at least 2 hours and 30 minutes before your flight, or you're gonna miss. There's gonna be plenty of people there. And I remember going at the airport like 3 hours before the flight, queuing up for another 2 hours. And at the passport control, I hand them over the passport, and it's in French. Why is my passport in French?
How drunk am I?
I open on the first page and I see this guy staring at me. I took Kion's passport. I remember I only had like $10 left on me. I didn't have enough money for the taxi. So when I woke you up, you gave me money for the taxi as well, for which I'm thankful ever since.
I don't remember that. That's so sick.
Yeah, it was a crazy story.
So how did I get my passport and get home then?
I went back to the hotel.
Oh.
We swapped passports. You gave me $20 for a taxi. And then I managed to run in front of everybody on the airport when I came back and
that's so
got
sick.
the flight.
That's a nice save, man. Nice save.
By you as well. If you didn't have the money for a taxi, I would have been in trouble.
You know, I remember staying with, back then, like, so I was on SK, and then there was, I think, Seaweeds, and there was one more player, maybe a human. Was Survivor maybe was there, no?
He-Man.
I don't think it was He-Man. And like, I remember the hotel that we stayed in, it was like on the strip. It was like the Klondike hotel. Hey,
the Klondike motel.
Yeah,
there he is.
And then like I was like, what is this? We're not staying in like the Stardust or like one of the big casinos. We're staying in like this small piece of shit. Like I remember I went to the diner and I didn't speak in English, so I ordered some food somehow. And then I'm like, can I get an iced tea? And then they bring me an iced tea, but it's American unsweetened iced tea. So I take like one sip. I'm like, what the fuck? It's like so sour. It tastes horrible. Like, you know, iced tea in Europe, you got tons of sugar in it. So I was like really confused. But yeah, like I remember, and also when we showed up and went to a hotel, the hotel hadn't been paid for, so we had to pay for it or something first. I was like, SKGaming, is this how it goes, really? Like, Wizard, welcome. You're muted.
Yes.
Thanks. Yeah, glad to join.
Yeah, good to have you, dude. Yeah, I'll quickly intro you. Wizard is an old school night elf player from America, also one of the greatest to ever do it. Won multiple tournaments, went deep in tournaments. You joined at the perfect time because we're talking about CyberXGames, at which you took second place. Do you remember what your experience was like at that tournament?
Yeah, I mean, man, that tournament was a mess. I'm trying to remember. I can't even remember playing it. You know, like the whole set. Like it wasn't even memorable. Like how the event was set up. I don't remember if they had fans or anything. And like how long, like months and months of trying to get payment from them afterwards, where they just kept saying it's coming in the mail. It's coming in the mail. And then you find out one day there's an article. Oh, they're bankrupt and everyone's getting nothing.
Do you remember your games against Insomnia, maybe, or?
Yeah, I remember those. I think I cheesed them one game. It was like the 2-player, like the shorter map, and like Ancient of War rushed him in his expansion.
Okay, and the other one?
Yeah, I don't remember the other. I think it was a 2-0 or a 2-1, but I remember like I watched a lot of his replays and like really fine tune my builds to like take advantage of like things that he would do in his builds.
Yeah. What about
Was it Grubby that got first in that event?
Sorry?
Was it Grubby that got first in that event? I think, right? Yeah.
You don't remember the finals at all?
Yeah. I remember it was Mass Talon. I think it was. Did I lose 2-0 or 1-2?
2-0.
Oh man.
You lost in the upper bracket final 2-0, and then in the grand final again 2-0. Well, you beat Zeus before that, and you beat Delicato as well.
Yeah, I just remember like Night Elf versus Night Elf was like my best matchup, and so like any of those matches, like I felt super confident.
Yeah.
I don't even remember why.
If you don't have it open, I'm showing the brackets and stuff on the stream. So twitch.tv/ToDs. I'm showing the graphics like through Liquipedia. But yeah, this Liquidpedia doesn't do justice to the tournament. There was a ton of players at this tournament, maybe like, I don't know, 50, 60. Dennis, that was the first time I met you. You remember?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I actually remember that. There's some funny stories. I remember, and I'll never forget this. We were at McDonald's for the first time.
Oh, the
we were all on the
Coke,
same
the Coke
team.
refill.
Yeah, we were all. we were all on armor team, right? And so it was
Yeah.
me, you, Shore, and there was a few other people there. But
I was not on. I think I was on SK this tournament, but I was hanging out with
Oh,
the
were
other
you?
team guys a bunch.
Okay. So we were at McDonald's and we order. Like I helped them order whatever they're gonna order, and like I remember Shore, he ordered like a large Coke or something. So like, and this is back in the day for you Europeans, where a large Coke in America was just insane. It was like they slimmed it down, but it was like 64 ounces, which is like, I don't even know, that's more than a liter. It's like maybe like a liter and a half or something. Just insane. And so it comes out and like it's like empty, right, the cup. And so he's wondering what to do. And like, oh, the machine's over there. You just fill it up. And so he fills it up with like all Coke and like very little ice. And like we sit down and he starts drinking it, whatever. And I thought let them know like, oh, if you want more Coke, you can just go back and fill it up. He's like, what do you mean? Like, you just go get some more. He's like, oh, but I want to pay for it. It's like, no, it's free. It's like as much as you want. It's like, what? And like his eyes light up like crazy. And I say that. And then so he just goes bananas, like fills it up and just like starts downing it again and goes fills it up again. And then he got really sick that night. So much Coke.
I had the same reaction. I was like, wait, how can they, like, how are they not losing money doing this? Like, this can't be real. This is too good to be true. I guess.
Yeah, you mean the 2 cents of value they're giving you for the soda itself?
Yeah.
How can they afford to give you another 2 cents?
I think there were some other times too. We were eating like at a diner. It was like Denny's or something, and I think you ordered like a shake, like an ice cream shake or sundae, and normally it comes out like just in like a tall glass and just like this little part at the top you can eat. But then they brought like the extra like, cup on the side that's like filled with like 3 times as much, and you're like, "What's this?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, so it always comes like that, right?" And he's like, "Holy shit!" They get one shake and it's like 4 shakes in one. And yeah, I remember you being really excited about that.
Yeah, that was pretty sick.
Johnny Rocket always does that.
Yeah. That might have been the place too. I think, was that your dog, Wizard? Maybe.
Oh yeah,
Like,
sorry.
Could you
Maybe
use
when he's
push to talk?
barking.
Yeah, that would be better. Okay, let's see what's next. I guess maybe ESWC 2004 must be in there as well. If you guys remember specific tournaments, we're just kind of going year by years. Like, we don't have.
I think I lost video in that one.
You what?
I mean, Wizard played Acon 4 in 2004.
Oh, and I have
Yeah, Icon 4. That was the one event I won.
Okay, let me see.
chance in my first tournament too, ever.
Let me see if I can find that one. Acon,
Oh,
that
there
was
was
with
also
a K.
the
I think it was ACON, right?
yeah
With the C.
ACON.
Yeah.
And then there was also the team league in 2004, I think, when I was with MTW.
Unlike
yeah.
you guys, I don't have any trophies, but I have a participation. Acon 5 player mode. That was a year later, but still.
Okay, so Acon 4, listed as part of the Code 5 series, was in mid-2004 and took place in Shanghai. And what do you know? Wizard won the tournament. How did that happen, Wizard?
In his Tetris pants.
That was like my peak, you know.
Yeah. Do you remember like any particular games or like how your run in general went in this tournament?
Yeah, I remember like even in the first, or I guess it was the second round when I played Taker when I beat him 2-1, like in he was Twisted Meadows where he actually forgot to pick up an item for camp before he teleported out, and it was the item that spawns little bears. It's like that let me win that first round match versus him. But I think I won all the others like 2-0 or 2-1.
Yeah, you beat Cafone in the round 1 actually, the Italian. I think he was undead.
Yeah.
Then you beat Taker, then you beat Suho 2-1. And in the final, you beat Deadman.
Yeah, I remember Suho beat Grubby. He abused the what's her name?
Walden?
The Phantom Knives.
Yeah, Walden.
No, yeah, Warden. I remember that. I was super happy. I was like, oh, Suho is much easier than Grubby. I'm glad he abused the shit out of that.
Walden against Orc back then?
Yeah, he would just you could just go to the peon line and just keep Phantom Knives, kill all the peons. Like he did that constantly to him all game. I remember watching the match and be like, "Oh, he's doing pretty well. It's good for me."
Yeah. And you got $6,000 for this. Did you get paid?
Yeah, I got paid. So they gave me the cash equivalent of the car. I think they were hoping like a Chinese player would win, but it was they paid. I think they paid pretty quickly too, and they had like all their tax stuff filled out.
Yeah. Well, they sent you by bank transfer, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, pretty sick actually. Like this is. I remember I didn't participate in this, but I kind of like back then you would follow from afar. You wouldn't necessarily see like VODs or anything. You just kind of hear or like read the news about the tournaments. And I remember, that was the one that you won. It was a stacked tournament as well. Like He-Man was in there, Sweet, Fat C, lots of big names for sure.
Yeah.
Did you play best of one back then? Right, it was a best of one tournament.
No,
is that correct?
Look at the stream, bro.
Okay. The year after that, they had best of ones.
Yeah.
Oh, they switched to the best of ones. That sucks.
What the hell?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. The ESWC 2004. That one I remember. I think that was the 1.14 patch, I'm pretty sure, which was the Destroyer patch. Where like you would absorb mana and then the mana basically wouldn't be going down.
Let's see.
And 5 players out of 8 were undead in the top 8. And I guess we got 3 humans as well in there. I was going for the revenge against Matt Frog this tournament because I lost to him the one before that I talked about earlier. But then I got Matt Frog in quarterfinals this time, and I lost like shit. That's crazy. But in the groups, actually, we didn't do too bad. I think, I beat Sweet, who was like one of the biggest names back then. But yeah, the undeads were like unstoppable. And it feels like it was somewhat of a new age. Also, like some new age players kind of breaking through, like Heather from USA wasn't there. Do you guys remember Heather?
I've never even heard that name before.
You mean Ether? It's not Heather.
Oh, really?
You
say Ether?
Yeah, it's Ether.
I always thought it was Heather. See, I'm still improving in English every day.
No, he was undead, yeah.
Insomnia, do you remember ESWC 2004? You muted.
Yeah, I remember a bit of it. It was in Poitiers.
Yeah. And what about your matches?
I remember losing to an undead. It was the undead patch, I think. The one with the destroyers.
Yeah. Fov and Fatsi advanced in group stage to over you and Miyu. Yeah. Yeah. And were you going into this tournament confident, or because of the undead patch, or you're like, it's going to be hard?
Yeah, I was pretty desperate at that point against the undeads.
Yeah.
So just hoping not to lose the other matches.
Do you remember how we were playing against undead?
I think we were trying mass towers at that point. We had already given up.
I think what I remember was that we were doing rifle attacks.
Oh yeah, that was before that.
Yeah, there was Turtle Rock, close position even sometimes. And then like guys like Fatsi and He-Man, I feel like they kind of showed like how you could go like rifle and then just play super aggressive and not let the undead get to tier 3 and like big army too easily. And you were trying to do timings.
Yeah, that was exactly that point in the meta, yeah.
Yeah. It was pretty rough. Undead finals, Fov was able to win. We had He-Man and Matt Frog again make actually both of them top 4. That's pretty sick. And Fatsi another deep run too. Okay, if you guys want to see any specific tournament as well, you can let me know. Since we're doing 2004, we'll probably have to do WCG as well.
That's the one that Robbie won, right? In San Fran?
Yes.
That's like the first esports event I actually followed live. You know, listening to a radio broadcast in Winamp.
Without video?
Yeah, of course. There was no video. There was no Walk TV either. But there was a Winamp radio link with Kim Fan, solo casting, I think. That is the first like live esports experience I ever had. It was pretty sick.
Were you hyped?
Yeah, no, I could really like totally imagine the game, even though it was just radio and there was no video. I could really picture it, it was like Turtle Rock, Bottom Spawn, Cannon or not Cannon Rush, Tower Rush, and a word like Fire Lord and this and that. It's like I could totally picture the game. When I later downloaded the replay, I was like, I've already seen this game, just by listening to the commentary. It was really cool. It was a super fun experience.
Dennis, do you remember anything from this?
Yeah, I remember that. I think I lost semifinals, and then you just crushed me in the third place match. Yeah. Back then, actually, even like 2004, 2005, those were like the years where I was like really playing a lot. And I remember like throughout that entire time, I was just never good against human, and I always ended up getting up against you at some point in a tournament, and just like losing that like third place match. I was like, oh, god damn it again.
But do you remember going into the tournaments, like how much you had practiced, and like we had a discussion actually on kind of before the tournament started. Do you remember that?
I remember you telling me, I think before we played or something, I was playing against a human. I remember you telling me, "Oh, Fire Lord is really strong. If you just go Fire Lord against human," and it's like that was like your advice to me. But outside of that, I don't remember too much about what I was going or who I really even played in that tournament.
Yeah, so I think like you were not the most active, like compared to some pros that were playing 24/7. But I remember we talked, and I was like telling you in Korea, like the Night Elves are like doing this and this, and then you used the Fire Lord and stuff against Fatsi, who had beat Freedom in the previous round, who was one of the most hyped players, because I think he won the Korean qualifier or something. And you smashed Fatsi, and I was like, holy shit, like Shortround learns pretty fast, I guess. But yeah, you lost to Grubby in the semis after that, and then the third place match, I lost to Zakard in the semi, lost Temple, close position, good times, like always.
Lost Temple was a map, holy shit.
Yeah. Well, I played you on Lost Temple as well. Like, you got also lucky position, I think, but if I remember.
I guess human was just, that map was just unwinnable. I was like, oh, fuck, all right. Auto loss, I have to win 2, I guess.
Yeah. Wizard, you were in there.
Those were the good old days, yeah.
You got a rough
No, I was
draw.
there. I lost to Freedom in the first round of 32.
Yeah, that's a rough draw, man.
Yeah.
Freedom was an absolute beast.
Oh, yeah, he was really good.
I remember Caravaggio won against Matt Frog, and I was like watching nearby, and he was so happy. He just stood up, he looked at me, and he was like, shake my hand. I was like, he was like so proud. That's so sick. But yeah, this tournament was actually, if I look at this grid, there's so many players that I know, and like they all represent their country. I feel like I kind of viewed esports almost differently back then. Like Creolophus, did you follow the game already? Like at this time, very closely?
Yeah. For me, this is like the old school for me. So it's interesting to hear because I was kind of starting playing one-on-one, and I was following the scene. I remember like the finals, but I was not really doing anything but learning from the replays that were out, and not all tournaments had replays at the time, so I don't remember exactly this one, but it was really fun to watch the esports team, and I think this was like really of the height of the Warcraft 3, and you had patches changing the dynamics from almost from tournament to tournament, so
yeah,
you never know which way it would swing.
Insomnia, I see you actually, I just realized you met Dennis in the tournaments. Do you remember anything? Was there a Fire Lord involved? Or?
Oh yeah, there was.
How many lava spawns?
I don't know, but yeah, I lost. He played Fire Lord and Panda second.
Nice. And
I think both games that I lost was because I let Dennis get 2 high level heroes, so the Breath of Fire just decimated me.
Yeah, it was tricky actually back then.
And Incinerate was also pretty good at that.
Yeah,
it was really.
I mean,
it didn't cost mana, right?
You beat Robbie the year after that, no? With Incinerate. Like, that was the main reason why you won those games.
We're getting there, Kev.
I know, that's a year later.
Don't spoil it. So I guess that was, 2004. And I guess we can go straight into 2005, starting with ESWC. Where that was the one that's Grubby won. There was a lot of prestige around the ESWC, I find. Like WCG and ESWC were like the big two, you know? Like there was other tournaments, but these were like the ones that everybody wants to try really hard and win.
I feel like ESWC was the better tournament with like the better format and shit. But then WCG was slightly more prestigious because first place was big and it had the whole gold medal vibe. But I think tournament-wise or skill-wise, I think ESWC was maybe like the better one, but still people cared more about WCG, even though I think it should have been the other way around.
Yeah, the format was better probably.
Yeah.
Creolophus, you make a cameo in this one, an appearance. Do you remember anything?
Yeah, I remember this was the first time I actually went to one of these, like you mentioned, ESWC and WCG was like the world championships that happened every year. And I remember the group stage, which was like a lot of close games, and I ended up on the bad side of almost all of them. But it was a really fun tournament, and especially getting to know everyone. Like the year before, I was just watching replays and VODs, and suddenly you have guys like you only watched replays from a long time, and then you suddenly meet them in person. And some are exactly as you would imagine, and some are a bit different.
Who were you friendliest with during those times, like that you met?
I think in the start we were, let's say, maybe we were 17 or something. So us Scandinavian stuck together in the start, like Sasa and
Fury.
And Fury, yeah, and from Denmark. I was trying to look in the list if they attended this one, but yeah, Bjarke and the Nordic countries in the start, and then you suddenly get to know everyone, especially when you started with the team tournaments on the same time, like WC3L and so on, where you have the team tournaments. That's kind of where the team spirit started to show.
Yeah. Kev, did you try and qualify for this one at all, or was it?
I have the feeling I don't know if he had a qualifier for that. I think it may have been invite, or there was a LAN qualifier. I'm not 100% sure about that one. Like I remember a lot of the Dutch qualifiers, but that one I'm generally not sure of. Maybe it was like a 3-day event or something in Eindhoven. I think that's maybe what happened. I generally don't know. I know I followed it though. Like I did really I love the idea. Like that one was way more special to me to follow as a fan because I could see like the top 8 got money, you know, and the idea like when you're a young gamer, you've never really made money at video games, like top 8 gets $2,000. I was like, I could buy the fucking world with $2,000. You know, so that was special about ESWC. While like WCG, you had to be top 3 to make money, and I was like, that's almost impossible. But this is the one. You know, one day we're gonna make it there. So I remember following it, but I didn't play in that one. Obviously.
Were there no American seeds for that tournament? I don't remember what happened.
I saw Shock and Seaweed. Oh, okay. But Seaweed actually didn't attend, apparently. Maybe he had a problem. But I saw Shock in one of the groups, maybe. I was just looking for that as well.
Hey, Winter, do you remember Seaweed at all? I don't even remember.
Yeah.
I remember Seaweed, yeah. He stayed in a hotel with us.
He was a bit of a trash talker online, but he was like multi.
Yeah, he was definitely a big of a trash talker. He took long showers.
What? What does that have to do with anything?
This is the number I have of him. Yeah, I just remember it was like 3 or 4 of us in a hotel room, and you'd be like, dude, what are you doing in there for like an hour?
Well, you know, many years later, maybe.
Oh my god. VankOr, do you remember anything from this? Looks like you were in a pretty tough group with Grubby, Insomnia, and Wolf.
I remember I couldn't beat Grubby. But no, I don't remember any games. Back then I was terrible against human, but later on it became my second best matchup. I don't remember anything.
Inso, do you remember playing VankOr?
Very vaguely.
Not that memorable games.
I remember we were playing many games with Insomnia before WCG. We were practicing a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that the one that Inso won?
Came up with this strategy. We came up with it together. Like he came up with it, but he was practicing against me. Like knights, 3 heroes, gyrocopters.
Mm-hmm. Which WCG was that?
2005.
Oh, okay.
I think
we can go there then.
WCG. Yeah, I remember practicing those practice games.
Let's see. That was
That was
Singapore.
actually the only time I practiced before main event, but I only practiced against human and against orc. And my undead against undead was really good, but I didn't practice against elf. I was confident against elf too.
Look at the size of these groups and how many players. Like, what has happened to esports, guys? We did it better before somehow. Like, so many countries are represented. WCG was actually really sick for that.
Jesus.
Yeah, that was. Do you guys remember, like, in Singapore, we were staying in some sort of like amusement park, where like it was like really warm, and then people went to the pool, and I told that story of like some people got like really badly. I remember I was sunburned, but I heard that like there was this player, I think from Russia, who got sunburned so badly he couldn't play the tournament. He was like in hospital, like, super hurting and stuff.
Holy shit.
Yeah, no joke, man.
I just see this Spanish player. It's the most ridiculous nickname in esports history. LOL versus XD.
Yeah, I remember.
What a dumbass name.
That guy's still around, and yeah, the nickname is very fitting indeed. Do you guys remember anything specific from this tournament? Creolophus, this time you made it out of the group stage.
Yeah, I remember the referee from the group stage, because this was the time when not all groups finished on the same time. So me and Nightwolf had the last match, and both of us wanted to lose.
Why?
Because then we wanted to get a better bracket in the going forward. So we were quite honest with the judge. We were like, okay, both of us want to lose. How do we proceed? And he said, yeah, there's nothing we can do. You have to follow the rules. But if you want, you can play the game. And then after someone types out GG, the winner can quit first. And then we allow it. So this was like the first time that I was into trying to get to the better part of the bracket. So I actually won that. And then I got to quit the game first. And luckily Nightwolf was mannered and didn't just quit before. And
then you got VankOr, mate. What the fuck? That's so rude.
Yeah.
He's right here.
we didn't really know who would end up directly in round of 32, but it was like you looked at the potential ones in their start, and then I met Sky. I don't know how I won Lost Temple, because obviously I shouldn't, but he wrecked me the other two games, so that was that. Actually,
yeah, that was a rivalry in the making here, if you will.
Against me because I was a deaf win.
Dude, what happened in Lost Temple? You played Dreadlord second, and you played Priestess of the Moon second?
Ooh.
That's what's listed. You against Creolophus. I don't know if that's accurate.
I was unbeatable against Elf. In Lost Temple, I was really good. I won easily. I remember all.
What did you do?
I would go DK first, sell TP. It was my own build. I even played Moon on ladder with this, on the European ladder, and I didn't believe it was Moon. So
you just expanded, or what?
No.
So why do you sell TP?
Sell TP, double crypt, a lot of ghouls, and I would just have complete map control in the middle. I would creep anything. I would take the fountain too. I would play really aggressively, and then just go tier 3, frenzy, ghouls, dreadlord second, harass with decay, creep dreadlord, get frenzy, and attack. But the whole point of the strategy was the early game. You had a lot of map control, and he would always stick to level 1 or level 2 demon hunter and stay like this forever.
Yeah. Dennis, do you remember your run in this tournament? You had some tiebreakers.
Yeah, so I remember I qualified for this tournament, and then I realized I wanted to quit Warcraft 3 and I started playing poker. So I didn't practice for like 3 months or something before the tournament. So I was like, well, it's a free trip, might as well go and just like have a vacation. That was my plan. And so I get there, and then we set up, and we're like, I guess we had some time to practice at the computer. So I was like, well, might as well practice since I'm here. There's nothing else to do. So I remember playing Grubby and practicing with him. And we played, I think, 7 games. And like, I think it was just on like Total Rock or something. No, maybe a few different maps. But he like just super crushed me in the beginning. Like I'm lost in like 2 minutes or something to like just like a farce her ass, just like, okay, game's over. But like every single game, I got better and better. And eventually on the 7th game, I almost beat him. And that's when he realized like, oh shit. like he's gotten much better idea to stop playing, so he didn't want to play me anymore after that. And I don't know if I practiced against anyone else or not, but yeah, then the group stages were actually like really competitive, because I don't think there were any orcs in there. But like the players weren't like well known or anything. But yeah, it was like a tiebreaker. I ended up winning the tiebreaker and moving on. So I was like, okay, that was close. And then I happened to get just the luckiest seed at all ever in the brackets. You see, there's like nobody good I play until I play Grubby, I think. Oh no, I play Suho, I guess.
I was like,
Well, like,
shots fired.
The first one, like, I think it was like somebody from like somewhere in like Africa or something.
Philippines, Jambi.
Okay, Philippines, and then the next one, I don't know who
from
that.
Argentina.
Just like mostly unknown players, but like I guess yeah. So they weren't super challenging. I think one of them would try to go like Dreadlord Fast Expand or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't really remember.
Do you remember the games against Grubby?
Those games I remember, yeah. Actually, it's funny. I went back and rewatched those recently, and my memory of how those games played out is way different than actually how they played out. Like I thought, like, oh, I did pretty well against it, but actually watching replays, it's like I was really terrible. But I remember specifically going Talons. I think all 3 games, and it's like mass summons, like Beastmaster, Fire Lord, and Tinker, and then just mass Talons. And I think one of the games on Twisted Meadows, I went Demon Hunter, and that's the game where I actually ended up doing pretty well, where I would just like mana burn him, cyclone, and back up, and then his TC would drop down, mana burn, cyclone, back up, and just that over and over again. Eventually, I ended up beating him, but it was really close games overall for sure. Oh, this photo is like taken right afterwards, where it's like
Find this photo.
the handshake post game. I always hated this. And is that Bunny on the right?
Yeah, I think that's
saying a prayer for all the orcs.
I think she was really conflicted, actually.
Yeah.
Because back then, like, her and I were pretty close friends, and I know she was really close friends with Grubby, so she was like, I can't really cheer, but like, yeah, so that's interesting.
And I remember Team USA actually won the overall medal competition as well, which this probably helped getting a silver medal in the tournament. Right?
Did we?
Yeah, you guys, I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
in San Francisco, USA won.
No, that was Singapore.
Oh, in Singapore, I don't know.
I'm pretty sure I saw like Team USA later on stage taking like the group photo with everybody because they had won the most medals and stuff. Yeah. Speaking of Team USA, Wizard, you made it to the brackets.
Yep, again, first round, Suho.
You had a tough group as well. You had Hot and the Muslim. You went 4-1, so you only lost to one of them. And then yes, Suho again in the bracket. Do you remember anything?
I think I actually wanted that side of the bracket. I think I was actually beating Hot in the last game, and then I was like, I don't actually want to win the second tiebreaker. I was like, if I can get past Suho, then things are pretty good in that side.
Yeah. Really? Because there was
Insomnia
in the next one.
Didn't work out so well though. Yeah.
Insomnia, do you remember your run?
It wasn't very long, that tournament. Yeah, I remember losing to Suho.
Yeah.
I think Turtle Rock and Twisted Meadows with Dark Ranger first.
That's crazy, actually. Like these are like listed super accurately. And you played Philbot as well. You remember that?
No.
I remember Philbot.
You remember what?
Philbot. He used to play Fiends. DK leads Fiends.
Yeah, he was
I guess everything.
Yeah, he was very unique style.
Forever.
He would do like one base versus like your 5 bases with like, 3 heroes that never die and fiends that would keep alive forever. You just hold on till the end.
Wait, his thing he did in particular was he would just mass creep and never try to fight you. Even if you can't creep back him, he would just finish the creep and just TP out, and then immediately by TP go creep the other side. You come back and TP out. Like he would just get high level, and then like, okay, high level 3 heroes. What are you gonna do?
This tournament is crazy, actually. As far as like player list goes, it's like there's so many players from so many countries.
Yeah.
Kind of makes me miss these times because I feel like there's something pure and like amazing about having a tournament like this. Like nowadays, it's kind of like always the same people in tournaments. You have like a lot of invite-only tournaments, especially in a game like Warcraft.
And also something about those times back then. Almost anybody could win against anybody. There's surprises were happening.
It's kind of that group. So Grabby has 4-1 and Sky has 4-1. So who like Sky beat Grabby, but who beat Sky in that group
Where is it?
on the group stage?
Oh yeah, here. I don't know. Good question.
Nicholas?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it feels like they shouldn't be losing to any of these guys, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I guess it was best of one, I think.
Best of one, yeah, anything could happen.
Yeah, anything can happen, really.
You see, I finished first of the group, so that proves that anything can happen.
Hey, whoa, what? You beat Fov?
Yes. My undead was pretty good, but it was just the best of one.
Yeah, what was the game like? Gargoyles and Lich?
Yeah, let's Turtle Rock, close position, Wolves, Gargoyles.
Nice. Yeah, I remember.
I remember I found the Clock of Shadows. It was really useful.
Yeah. I remember like I went against Levin. It was like pretty straightforward. Then I was not confident at all against Soju, and then I won. I don't know why it says he played random. I don't think he played random. Otherwise, my memory fails me again. And then Hot, every time I played the Hot in WCG, every time he was like round of 8 or like pretty deep, and every time I beat him, this poor guy. And then Sky. So before playing Sky, I talked to him. I was like, let's play without Lightning Shield, because like a lot of Europeans, they were doing that. We were agreeing before and playing without Lightning Shield. And then Sky was like, no. So then we play, and game 1, he finds Lightning Shield on Turtle Rock. Wait, you will play the same map multiple times as well in this stupid like format. So game 1, Turtle Rock, he finds Lightning Shield, he wins in 7 minutes. Game 2, Turtle Rock, I find Lightning Shield, I win in 6 minutes. And then Twisted Meadows, I think he crept the mercenary camp and I crept something else, and then he got like a greater healing and something, and then I didn't even realize, and yeah, he just smashed me yet again. Sky was like so tough to play against, honestly, and I think Dennis, you found that out in the finals, didn't you?
Oh yeah.
There was a Toro Rush in there, right?
Yeah, so I think game 1 was game 2 was Lost Temple. So yeah, game 1, Twisted Meadows was or no, I think it was game 1 was Lost Temple.
Yeah.
And but anyways, I just auto lost on that one. It's just like I think he had pretty good spawns where it's like his expansion was like farther away from me, and my expansion was close to him, so it was really hard. And then the Twisted Meadows game, I remember I was talking to I think it was somebody on 4K, like another elf. And they were saying, "Oh yeah, just go like 1 AOW hunts or something." Because I hadn't been practicing, so I didn't really know what was good.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, I'll go 1 AOW hunts. And Sky got the good scout off at the start, and so he knew exactly where I was. All the 1 AOW hunts, no archers, and just tower rushed me, and that was it. But I think if the scout went the other way, like I would have had a better chance. But you know, who knows?
Are you watching the stream?
Yeah.
The memories.
Fucking human.
It's bringing back nightmares for you right now.
The humans. I hate playing against humans.
Look at this rally. Yes.
I mean, it was okay. Like for me, it wasn't that big a deal. So it's like I was just going for the free trip, honestly, at the time. So I wasn't planning on. So it's like second place, not bad.
Yeah. Okay, so we did ESWC 2005 earlier, and I wasn't there. That's because there was another tournament happening at the same time where you were as well, Dennis. Let me try and pull it up. There it is. CPL, aka Cyber Athlete Professional League Summer Championship 2005. That was happening at the exact same time as ESWC in Paris, if I remember correctly, because this one was in Paris. And wait, is there no bracket, really? Yeah, there isn't. So this tournament also had like a lot of players, in particular a lot of American players, and only 3 Europeans went there, and they got top 3. That was so sick. I remember, Dennis, you lost to like Suboshi or something, like.
Where was this?
In Dallas.
Okay, I remember this tournament then. Yeah.
I think you played Suboshi and he like off-raced or something. He played Elf instead of Orc, and then he beat you. Or something.
Yeah, I don't really remember the games, but I remember losing to him and being surprised.
Yeah. And there was Elec Duck and DD8 as well in there.
Yeah, he was a good friend though, so it was fine. It's whatever.
What, wasn't DD8 like an old StarCraft player?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I played him in StarCraft too.
Yeah, but you were at that tournament. Do you remember your run or?
No, I don't remember at all. I think I remember Boo, who's like the random player. He was quite a character.
Yeah. He finished top 8 as well, actually. You
don't I remember
any of your games?
Incinerator, who had like 40 APM or something. He would just like power share the game. Like he can only focus his screen at one place at one time.
Yeah. But you don't remember any of your games at all, or?
No, I don't remember any of those games. Yeah, I think at that point I was kind of like not spending as much time on esports. I was more focused on college and other things, and so
Yeah.
I kind of just showed up and like, yeah, give it a go, whatever I do.
Suboshi with the fourth place. I think not many people were expecting that there, but he surprised a bunch. And you guys with at least, I guess, a solid top 7, top 5. It was a pretty sick tournament. Like it was super fun to actually go there. Like by then, I had already after my first trip to Vegas, I realized I love going to America personally. So it was always fun. And yeah, winning it. But you know what, guys? They never paid me. I won the tournament and I never got that $6,000 over here. I could use it. It's kind of sad. Pretty sick.
Are you sure? I did you get paid, Dennis? I think I got paid my little sum.
I was gonna say I think there was only one tournament that I can remember not getting paid, which was the one we talked about, the one in Vegas.
Yeah, CyberX.
Yeah.
CyberX. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the only one I remember not getting paid from. So
Yeah.
or that just didn't pay in general. So I feel like I got paid for this one.
Maybe they started at the bottom and then they couldn't.
Like, at the bottom, you get more people. You know, if you see something first, one person.
Less people complaining. Yeah.
Maybe they only pay the Americans. Like they're like, fuck these Europeans.
Ay. Okay, so I got a Stars Word tournament here that I pulled up from Insomnia's page, where Creolophus you were at as well. And it was just Team Europe versus Team China versus Team South Korea. It was in Xi'an. Do you guys remember anything from this?
Yeah, I remember it quite a lot because this was my first trip to China. And I remember since we were teaming up in Team Europe, I sat next to Grubby on the plane, I think, and he was like handing over a copy of Sun Tzu Art of War on the plane. So I was like, okay, this is how it goes. And the games were quite fun because you played, okay, it was best of one, so it was kind of random, and if you lost, you were out. So if you were unlucky, you had 2 games for the whole tournament. And but it ended up being quite close between Europe, South Korea, and China. And we also went a trip to a mountain. So it was like a social trip. And I remember going to you, Todd, and trying to wake you up. You were probably out partying the night before. And you were like, no, I'm not going to go to this mountain. But we had a really good time. And it was maybe the best tournament I attended in terms of organization and getting everything rigged up for us players. And I remember, like, in the tournament, they had, like, bodyguards because there were so many fans. And if you just wanted to go to the toilet, you had to have a bodyguard with you to keep people away. And you were standing there pissing, and suddenly you had a fan on your neck, and he was looking over, and he was like, "Oh, Creole!" And he was trying to shake your hand while you were peeing. Now I understand why we need this bodyguard.
It's called multitasking, you know?
Yeah. Shouldn't be a problem.
You know?
There was not enough social distancing back then, for sure. Actually, yeah, it looks like Europe did pretty well. Creo, you carried. What is going on? You beat Rainbow, you beat Rain, Sweet, and Lin.
Yeah, it was.
I guess the Sun Tzu Art of War really worked on the plane, didn't it?
Yeah. And we were partying afterwards, and not all of these Korean guys were speaking a lot of English. Who was it? Maybe it was Rainbow, or no, Czech was it? Probably.
Yeah.
Who didn't talk too much. So we were. It was very like one-word based discussions over the night and evening about strategies and so on. But it was really, really fun tournament. I remember messing a lot of triads that tournament.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, you carried hard. Holy moly. Like, we only won 2 maps, and then you all killed everybody. Against Team Korea, at least. I guess against Team China.
Yeah, and you had like this option to revive a player as well. That's why 2 players played. They could lose, and then they would play again. Like against China, we lost, but they revived Sky against.
Who beat him the first time?
Sky?
Yeah.
No, okay, sorry, I'm mistaken. Grubby was the one revived for us, and then we lost against Sky again.
Yeah. Well, he lost the first match to Guangwo. Damn. Yeah, I don't remember too many of these games actually. Another time when Sky smashed me. It feels bad. Insomnia, you remember anything? Like you played against Fly, you beat him, and then you lost to Guangwo.
No, I don't remember those games, but I remember the tournament. Really fun times. I sent you 2 pictures on Discord from
I'm
this.
scared to open them if it's from these tournaments. You know, we had Soul Glider, right? Jason, like Fighter 2G, the guy who came out with us on the last night of this tournament. Do you remember that guy?
I remember there was a guy.
Yeah, that guy speaks Chinese, and like we went out and stuff.
Yeah, but I have no idea what the deal with this guy was.
It's pretty cool actually. He was to quite a few tournaments over in China. He was at the initial WG as well. Damn, you got a bunch of old school photos. Oh my god, look at Didi. So let's see. I guess that's maybe one of the sponsor organizers. That's Grubby, me. That's Rain, Lin. I don't know actually. Sweet,
yeah.
Check. That's King, the WE manager, and then down there we got Suho, Sky. I'm not sure. I think maybe one of them is like Tiger or something. Didi and Inso. Damn, Didi is looking.
So was the US
Sorry?
not part of the world at that point? Guess they figured, we don't need to invite those guys.
Yeah, they could have been a fourth team, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't
Where's the
know.
American team?
Or maybe they could have just done team rest of the worlds. But maybe you guys are like maybe almost retired back then and they were like, all right, the US has no more good. I don't know. Damn, this is like a podium photo. Look how happy I look.
As happy as I ever seen you.
This is the look of joy here after our run in the freaking tournament. God damn it. Didi's happy, I guess. He's shaking somebody's hands. Damn, Creo, you look the exact same. As now.
I don't know if that's gonna.
I still remember DD8 from the StarCraft event from WCG the year I went before Warcraft 3, where he played Boxer in StarCraft and he lost and he smashed his keyboard and the keys flew everywhere. It was the decider. It was an hour-long match and he lost by 1 unit or something.
Yeah. And look at Inso having this intense conversation with Grubby. Grubby's like, there's this book I gotta tell you about, man. All right, so that's 2006. So let's go to ESWC 2006 then and see what happens. Oh, I remember some things from this one. A group stage where me and Sky enter a group with 4 Night Elves. And there's not the map score, but we did lose a map against them. We only, he beat me, but we won every single map that we played against those elves, so 8-0 in total. And Dennis was one of them. Do you remember that, Dennis?
I remember going and not making it to groups, not making out of groups, but I don't remember the games, but it's double human again, fuck me.
The guys that you lost to as well.
I don't want.
What are the maps? Yeah. Is Lost Temple on there? Can you see the maps?
It says Echo Eye, Lost Temple, Tyrannostan, Turtle Rock, Twisted
damn,
Meadows.
Lost Temple.
Those were the good days,
Just free win, Just okay, gotta win two of the other maps.
Yeah.
And Kev, you're in there.
Yeah.
Finally made it to the big show. Welcome.
Now, what I remember from that event is that I actually had a very tough first group stage because I think Hot was in my group, Titan, Ciara. If you see above, you see group stage 1. He just leaves. Nice. And I remember I played incredibly well and I won all those games and I was super proud. And then I think in the second group stage, I think I lost every single series 1-2, if I recall correctly. I think that was one of those tournaments. I don't know. Basically, we went from winning everything on the first day to losing everything on the second. It was awesome.
Tough group.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's not a detailed match list, actually.
Johan, can you go to group stage 1? Above it? That's where I shined. No, I had a tough first group, I promise. And I did really well.
Yeah, here. 6-0. Look at this guy.
Yeah, no, like that
I
was
was
one.
thinking you showed up and got 5-0.
No, that was like one of my best days ever, and then the next day was like one of my worst days ever. But that's just kind of how I always was. Like if I was feeling well, I was playing well, and if I wasn't feeling it, then I just started losing everything. I still have that actually.
Yeah, Dennis was in there as well in a group with Grubby. And we had Nilknarf actually, the new school human player from America. Also one of the best players I think of all time from USA.
Wait, what tournament was this?
This was
ESWC
ESWC 2006.
Okay.
You remember anything or?
I just remember hanging out and just liking the city and stuff, but I don't really remember too much about the tournament.
Yeah. Looks like there was.
Who went there?
What's up?
Who won this one?
This one was won by. This is the one that Lucifer won when he went on an absolute rampage and beat everybody.
This is the one with the drama disconnect between Zeus and Grubby.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, they had to replay the last match.
Yeah, the Terran Ascent match.
Do you guys remember details about this? Like Creo, do you remember where the game was at and like?
Yeah.
I suppose Rotti had have the details, but there was a discussion if when the disconnect happened, if the game should be over right there or replayed. I think Zeus played a better strategy when they replayed, and he got some timing right, and he managed to pick it up. So there was some drama, as you say, Rotti.
Well, I mean, obviously I don't remember exact details, but I think it was like Bears, and Grubby definitely had higher hero levels, and Grubby was definitely like playing pretty well that game. But it was too much to say that it was over. Like I always thought that, because it's not Zeus's fault that the tournament disconnects, right? Like everybody deserves a fighting chance. And back then we didn't have recover from replay and stuff like that. Like it looked bad for Zeus, but I don't think it was like 100% over. And then I don't remember details, but I believe he either changed heroes or he completely changed strategies in the rematch. But I also don't think like if something like that happened right back then, would you be forced to like play the same strategy again? Like I don't think that that's necessarily right either.
I actually have an example of that against you, Rotti, in some probably just online tournament. But we had a replay from a certain point where like a Gnollwood game, I was attacking into you with Bears and you just crushed me. And then we, for some reason, had to replay it. And you were just standing waiting for the attack, ready to crush me again. And I went creeping one of the big spots on Gnollwood, and then I won. And I remember you were like, okay, is this really...
I vaguely remember
Of course, you can't do the same thing once more.
Yeah.
So
I vaguely remember. Yeah, that's I remember that we played in the NGL game. I remember that. And I cannon or tower rush you. And it barely didn't work. That was very sad. That's what I remember.
VankOr, were you at this tournament?
No, I don't think so. I stopped playing around 2005. This WCG was my last tournament ever.
Oh, okay. Sad, man. Well, why did you stop? You lost enthusiasm for the game, or you just wanted to focus entirely on something else?
I lost it a long time ago.
Why do you think?
I was hitting puberty. I was like 20, 21, and I lost weight. I was going out, dating girls and partying and stuff like that.
You gave Warcraft 3 up for that? Come on, man. Some real life stuff. Insomnia, did you beat Lucifer in the group? Because somebody beat him.
No.
Okay, well, somebody, I guess maybe Fov or something. But you advanced in a pretty tough group, actually. Oh my, this is pretty stacked. Fov was in there, Suo, Wolf.
That was a tough group, yeah. I remember.
And then you beat Fire D. And then how the fuck did you lose to Zeus?
I remember underestimating those games blatantly.
Yeah.
I remember he offered me to, before the games, if I would like to split the prize money. And then I remember that I refused. Because I was so confident he had no chance against me in that tournament. And then it didn't feel good after that.
And then do you remember anything from the third place match against Kai?
No.
Okay. Yeah, Sky actually beat Nilknarf, and then like he lost to Lucifer, who was just It felt like unbeatable, these tournaments. The Sky was the only one to win a map, really.
Yeah.
Well, I think if Grubby would have played him back then, Grubby was really good that tournament.
Yeah.
So I think Grubby could have beat him, but obviously.
I don't know, Grubby couldn't beat Zeus. So.
I think Grubby was really tilted that they had to rematch, and I think because of that, he played a bit worse.
Yeah. Okay, let's check out. Somebody was mentioning WG. I don't know why I skipped that entirely. But there was one in 2005.
Oh, this is a fun
WG?
tournament. I remember this.
Yeah, I remember that one.
I mean, there were multiples, maybe even.
I got another picture for you, Todd.
Dude, I should have prepared some pictures myself. You're making me feel so unprepared. Oh my god. I don't know if this one is suitable for work. Let's see.
Let's see it.
Why is it all the way zoomed in? Oh my god, look at my skin. Jesus Christ. Oh. Like, he's not even opening his eyes. Sweet. What the hell?
Nice jacket, Todd. Hey, Sweet is such a pretty boy in this picture, huh?
That was before Fov got his jaw surgery as well, so he looks like pretty different.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Like, I look at his photo and I'm like, yeah, Inso is the only cool one, basically. This is so sick.
That's why I'm telling you this image.
That looks like it's near. That was the season 1, right, near Coex, where I got blood castle.
No, I think that was the one in the mountains.
The first season was in
really?
the mountain.
Oh yeah.
Those jackets were from there.
Actually, yeah, we got a lot of stuff to say about this. A lot of stuff happened. Oh my god. All right, let's go.
Oh, shit.
Group stage were best of ones with 4.
Is this where you got into a fight with your teammate?
Okay, wait. Let's go through the chronological order here. First, we'll talk about the groups. So I had Moon, Magic Yang, and Mad Frog. I remember I beat Mad Frog on Turtle Rock. Then I lost to Magic Yang on like Maelstrom or something. And I was like pretty depressed about it because I expected to beat this guy in advance. And I remember I lost and I went off the stage. And He-Man was standing there with a big smile. And he looks at me and he goes, Magic Yang? And I was like, I'm going to fucking kill that guy if he says one more word. I was so tilted. And then obviously I got blood castled by Moon. I got blood castled by Moon on the Twisted Meadows. And I think for this one, He-Man didn't say anything, but I definitely saw a smirk on his face. But yeah, that was also pretty rough.
I remember sharing a room with him that through that whole tournament. he told that story many times.
How was it sharing a room with the man himself?
Oh.
With He-Man?
Yeah.
It was me, He-Man, Zakard. Oh, how was it?
Yeah, and there was Mad Frog as well, no?
Tons of fun. Yeah, and Zakard as well.
The setup for this tournament was just so awful for me at the start. Like, they had us all in rooms, but they grouped us by teams. So they're like, oh, you know, Malice Shortround should go with like the Malice Counter-Strike players. And I didn't know any of those guys, right? And all of them were just chain smoking the entire time.
Yeah, I remember.
So fucking awful in there. And I remember telling them, like, oh, you need to switch me rooms immediately because this is awful. Like, I can't just be like sleeping in here or whatever, right? And they wouldn't do it. So I threatened in one of the games I think it was against Suho. I was like, I'm just going to go in here and just throw the game and type in all this shit about how terrible the tournament is if you don't promise to switch me tonight. And I was already ready to leave. I was like, this is awful. So I had been practicing it all. And they're like, okay, fine, we'll switch you. So I was like, all right. So I was like, all right, I guess I'll try against Suho. But I ended up winning that one, which is fine. But then they switched me to like be with the American Counter-Strike players, and it was like much better after that. But
I didn't even realize that you switched. I thought you were with them initially.
No. I mean, it was pretty quick, like, because I was just so mad. Actually, Masternook in the chat is he was in that tournament as a CS player, and so I ended up switching to their room.
Oh, I remember when I would come to visit you, these guys would be like, "You gotta down one bottle of soju, or we don't let you see Dennis." I was like, "What the fuck?" I was trying to practice and do well in the tournament. Here, you sick degenerates. These guys drank so much soju, they were one-shotting bottles of soju in one go, which is absurd.
Yeah.
Do you remember what happened with Suho?
Not really.
You were pretty mad at him.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. So I think I was I practicing? I think I was practicing either against him or somebody else. I forget exactly what. I think it was somebody. Anyways, he ended up either sharing my replays. I think he shared my replays to my opponent. So like I had him as a practice partner, and he shared my replay to the other elf that I was been playing. to like just give him all my strats, right? And I found that out. I was so fucking mad. So that's why I was like extra like spicy that like I beat him in the group stages. That was nice.
Yeah, that's not very good etiquette for sure.
Yeah, it's pretty tilted for sure.
Let's see about the runs. Hey, Insomnia, you had a pretty rough tournament. What happened, man? The rooming with him and a little too fun, maybe?
Yeah, I remember some soju in our room as well, but yeah, that's one of my worst tournaments for sure.
Best of one force map is rough too, right?
Yeah. But yeah, it was pretty tough.
You were gonna ask me, do I remember what?
Yeah, I was gonna ask, do you guys remember that we didn't have heat in the rooms for the first 3 days? You remember that?
I don't think so.
Is that true? No, there was heat, but the water was cold. There was no hot water.
Yeah, but the heating, it was floor heating with hot water, so it was freezing cold in the rooms in the first 3 days.
Is that what it was? I remember there was no hot water, and it was up in the mountains and it was snowing.
So that's how you remember it. Yeah.
It's literally ice cold showers, and like you would just try to go in there a little bit, like spray yourself down, and then like that was awful.
Is it me or we were kind of like prisoners this season, by the way? Because we were like stuck in the mountains and we couldn't go to the city. They were like, no, you can't go out. It's like for your own safety.
You couldn't go out, and they made food for us, but the food was just atrocious. Like, it was honestly like people were just starving. Like they wouldn't eat anything. The best meal of the day was breakfast when there was oranges, orange juice. You just drink orange juice and that's all you eat. And I remember at some point they were like, "Oh, we'll try to make like the Korean food they were making for us. Even the Koreans wouldn't eat. They're like, we don't know what the fuck this is. This is awful." And so they actually started making Western food. I remember they tried to make spaghetti. But the pasta sauce, it wasn't pasta sauce. I think they just put like really shitty ketchup on it. And they're like, yeah, this is like spaghetti with pasta sauce, right? It's like, it was so terrible. Like you just like, I remember I was just eating orange juice and rice, and that was it.
Do you remember that we ordered pizzas one time and it was the best day ever?
Yeah.
Once we found out we could order food, we're like, okay, yeah, we should order pizza all the time.
Yeah.
I remember some people, they bought like a little like stove, and they were cooking food in their rooms. And they like all hold it around. They had like a little piece of meat. They like, put it on there.
Yeah.
Like...
I remember we went like they allowed us as if like we were prisoners, and then we get like 1 day out on parole. They allowed us to go to club, and then we went out to like a Hongdae with a giant group with like Counter-Strike players. There was like Elements or whatever, the Norwegian guy in there. There was the GamerCo guys, and I remember we were at a barbecue, and there was this guy from GamerCo next to me, one of the bigger guys on the team as well. And they were cooking barbecue and stuff, and then some people started messing a bit with the meat. And this guy goes, "You fuck with my meat, you fuck with me, bro." So it was so funny, dude. Like, just like the one time going out. But
I remember they couldn't use chopsticks actually very well.
Yeah.
So and there was like one of those grills that was like sunk into the table, so it was like extra hard to get. And I remember like I could use chopsticks, so like they were all trying to eat, and they were also starved from like the lack of food. And I was just going to town with the chopsticks, and they're all like just barely trying to get one piece of meat and just couldn't get it.
So obviously it was long ago, so I feel like it's hard to have like a super clear memory of everything, but there was the Dead Man episode that happened then.
Yeah.
Do you remember like how do you remember that, Dennis? How did that happen?
Yeah, so I remember I was talking shit to the Counter-Strike GamerCo, the American players, because I think I saw them playing Dota. I was like, "Whoa, yo, what the fuck are you guys doing? You can't be playing this. This is our game. This is, this is the Warcraft 3 mod. Like, you don't know what you're doing." And so they challenged us. And I was like, all right, fine, let's go. And so I think it was me, you, Deadman, and a couple other people on the team. We 5v5'd them. I think we might have lost, actually. Because they played a lot of Dota. But I remember I got really mad at Deadman. And I talked shit to him.
Do you remember what you said?
I remember what I said. It wasn't good.
Can you say it with censoring it the difficult parts, maybe? Because I want to know if it's the same as I remember.
I'm pretty sure I called him a dumb fuck, but then I also added like his nationality in there.
Yeah.
So not good for sure. I don't know why I got so mad, but anyways, I got really mad. So I apologize, Deadman, if you're out there. Definitely bad.
Actually, he passed.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's sad.
But I think you guys argued about basically the Dota game that we lost, about one of the things that happened. It was like just a silly argument. It's like this happened, no, this happened, and then
Counter-Strike players in Dota.
Sorry?
To Counter-Strike players.
Yeah, the American Gamer Code team.
Yeah, but they played a shitload. They played
a lot, like way more than us. Yeah.
And yeah, you guys like you
Embarrassing.
argued about one thing that happened in the game, and then he was just telling you check replay. You can check replay, and then he kept, and you were saying no, like this happened like this, and he was saying no, you check replay, and then eventually you lost it, and then you cursed him out, and you left, and you slammed the door really loud behind you. And I think because he was so young, he just kind of went on full tilt after this. But then I think I guess I'll let you continue, but I think you went to bed or something.
I don't know. I think it was probably the same day, but I went to sleep. And my room had a window on the outside. I remember he I just knocked on the window, and it was Dead Man. And he's like, "Hey, come outside. I need to talk to you." I was like, "Yeah, I'm tired. I'm sleeping. Like, what is it? Just tell me what you want." He's like, "No, come outside. I need to talk to you." I was like, "I'm not coming outside. Just tell me what you want, you know?" And he's like, "No, I need to talk to you." And it's like, talk to you tomorrow. So I just like went to sleep. And then Masternook in the chat actually, we were all staying in the same room, and Dead Man tried to come into the room. And Matthew was like, "Yo, you need to fuck out of here. You ain't coming in here at all. I'll fuck you up." And, like, those guys were definitely more dangerous than than Dead Man. So like he fucked off. And then I guess you can he went to Yuan's room, and you can tell the story from here.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think he was just tilted because of everything that happened, and he just wanted to fight somebody, basically. So he did the same thing as he did for you, pretty much. He came to me and he was like, "I need to talk to you." So I was like, "I'm trying to practice, mate." He's like, "No, come on, I need to talk to you." So I was like, "Okay." So I went outside, and then I was like standing on a bench or something, and he's like, "Can you come closer? I can't see your face from this far." So I was like, I was so confused because the argument was entirely with you from the Dota game. Like, we lost, and then honestly, I didn't even have time to say anything because you guys were arguing all the time. So I was like his beef is not even with me. So I got close to him, and then he threw a punch, but it's like not that powerful a punch, or it's more like a slap or something, and it landed on my face. So I was like really confused for a second, and then I looked at him, and he started running. So I ran after him, and then eventually I caught up, and then I think I got him on the ground, and I just kind of held him there for a little bit and like hit him, not too hard or anything. I said like a typical French thing you would say, like where it's like, "Is this really the only thing you understand?" Like basically meaning like violence or something. And as this is happening and I'm standing over him, holding him on the ground, two of the referees come out of their house that's right next to it. And they look at me and I'm like, "I just got DQ'd from this tournament." That's when I'm thinking, I'm like, this is bullshit. Like, he freaking attacked me. So anyway, like, they start talking to us, and I'm like, he started it and stuff, which is like, honestly, it looks hardly believable. You know, this is like one of those moments where it's like, it's not what it looks like. I'm like,
he was small. Also, he was like pretty small person too.
Yeah, and like
we were way bigger.
He stands up. I'm not joking you. He stands up and he spits blood, and I'm like, oh my god, this is like a fucking nightmare. And like the referees, it turns out, I talked with them later, and they're like, "Yeah, we know that he's like difficult to deal with, so like we're not gonna DQ you or anything." Like, yeah, they pretty much knew that. Sometimes people get into arguments, and like he wasn't that bad and stuff, and like, yeah, it wasn't like a full-blown fist fight or anything. He just like hit me once, I chased him, he got on the ground. I don't know how. Okay, Bastunuk is dramatizing this in the chat. I remember hearing Deadman scream outside my window, and the admin screaming Todd, and Deadman running. Okay, that's messed up. No, but it wasn't so bad. Like, you know, it's like in esports, there is always, or like in life, people like crave drama. So like it was something that got talked about a lot. And then I guess he made a post on a Russian forum where he said like that he beat me up or something. And it's like, okay, sure, like if that's what you want to believe. But yeah, like sometimes you get into arguments, and sometimes you haven't even done anything to get into the arguments. And he was freaking Dennis cursing out at Dennis and tilting him. Feels bad, man. But yeah, that was a crazy tournament. It feels like so much happened. Like, you know, like there was like almost no girls around. Like I think there was this one girl that was a ref, and there was one girl that worked at the cafeteria. So these two got all the attention in the world, because he was like 40 geeks in a mountain and two girls. Yeah, those were the days. All right.
Yeah, I remember one of them was Crystal. I think she ended up marrying like some esports personality guy too.
Yeah, one journalist from Godfrag, I think.
Okay, yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, that guy was pretty nice actually. But yeah, esports connecting people. What do you know? So that was it for 2005. We did ESWC earlier, so we can do WCG, I guess. 2006.
I remember there's one more story actually from WG 05, which was the internet was really laggy for some reason. And so the Counter-Strike Gamer Club people, I felt people were like just mass downloading stuff. And so they went around to every room, like figuring out who's downloading a bunch of shit, like probably just mass downloading porn, let's be honest, right? And so they eventually go to Heman's room. And I don't know if you were there or not, Insomnia, but like they open that fucking door and they're like, hey, back away from the fucking computer. That fool is just mass downloading porn, just an insane amount. And like there was just like rags all over the floor, and there's like, oh my god, you know. It sounds like it's pretty accurate.
Wait, was it? I think wasn't Deadman? Wasn't He-Man trying to load as many torrents as he could, or something, until the computer crashed, or something like that?
I remember there was something about him downloading a shitload of everything.
He-Man was actually really funny, like.
Yeah, he's a good guy, like cool to hang out with. But,
yeah, I remember in the, it was IRC we were using back then for the WC3L. He was always trolling and writing like really funny stuff. Do you guys remember anything from that, from like the WC3L days, like Wizard, Creo, and VankOr, or even Roddy? The IRC, you guys were on it, right?
Yeah, the WC3L one.
Yeah.
You mean? Yeah. No, of course I do remember that. That was like
whatever happened to IRC
for a day. It would feel like you got cut off the internet because that was the most interesting place on the internet. So it was always like people were rebelling against the admins, like, hey guys, behave, and then like everybody started teaming up on the admins all the time. That was really. It was basically online class. That's what it was, and we were a bunch of shitty, annoying kids trying to challenge the admins all the time. Yeah, that was funny.
Remember ICQ? Remember this application?
No, we used MSN in the Netherlands. Everybody used MSN.
I had MSN too, yeah. MSN all day long.
Yeah, we had AIM. I remember like asking people, "Do you have an AIM?" And they're like, "What the fuck is that?" Get on IRC, noob. I was like, okay.
Creo, you remember?
Yeah, we used IRC for everything, because in the start it was like we used MSN, and then as you said, VankOr, it was like if you managed to find someone who could be a practice partner, it was like a great value because you could add them to MSN. But in the end, we started using IRC more and more, and you could use it for I think WC3L. The channel was everything from gossip to practice partners to whatever. Yeah. So someone was writing more than they were practicing, and the opposite. So it was a good time, and especially WC3L was like even though we haven't looked at it yet in the tournaments, it was like a really good thing that was running the whole time, and I think it was a major reason why the scene was so active as well, because you had these team tournaments all the time, and you had the team spirit, and you had these strategies in terms of picking which players would play each map and so on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's talk about WCG 2006. Still the same shitty map pool, by the way. I guess I don't see Lost Temple. Wait, was it?
Yeah, they removed most of it.
There was 4 maps? Echo, Atenas, Turtle Rock, Twisted Meadows. Again, an absurd player list from like every country. And let's see, Grubby was in there. Creo, you were in a group with Ghost and Moonglades. And Advanced, it looks like some people were missing actually in your group. You guys were only 3. Sky made it through. Looks like Zeus had a rough day. Soju and Hots. I remember, okay, so in my group I had like, not like super well-known player. There was Bash from Germany and Kawi from, is that? Hey, that's New Zealand. And I remember I was like 3-0, and my last match is against Kawi, and I was like, oh, there's going to be a lot of elves in the bracket, so I better hide strategies. And then I lost the best of 1 against him, and I had to play tiebreakers. So then I played a real strategy. I was like, oh, you want the real strategy? So I played tanks against and beat him, and then advanced to the bracket. Hey, Hoodigan was playing back then.
Yeah,
VankOr, what the hell?
it was good.
This event, I don't remember anything.
Torrent and Firestrike, bro.
No, embarrassing.
Come on, man.
Yeah, this was in Monza in Italy.
Yeah, yeah.
With the, like
On
the
the
Formula
racetrack.
1 stadium. Yeah, the racetrack.
Okay.
Let's look at the brackets.
Uh,
Creolophus,
I don't know if you remember the host. Todd, maybe you do.
The what?
They had like a female host who made the introduction to the whole tournament, and she looked like a model or something. And someone next to me was like, "Yeah, I think she must be known. I think I know her face from somewhere." And then it ended up he was like googling a bit. Ah, okay, adult movies. So they really had this trying to make it a really a big, like a tournament with the whole stadium and with the racetrack and everything.
And they're catering to the perfect audience as well with that.
Yeah.
I wonder who it was actually, because I don't remember that at all. And I feel like me of all people, I would know, you know, like.
That's why I thought it was you.
Yeah,
It was
I
someone
don't
else.
know, like, makes me wonder. I'll try and look it up later. But yeah, in the brackets, you played against Terror, you beat him. You played against Elecduck, you beat him, and then you lost to Hooligan in the quarterfinals. You remember that run?
Yeah, I got human players in round of 8. Seems to be the common theme for me in WCG. So I lost to Sky the year before. Now I lost against Hooligan, and he was playing. I don't know what it was, but like human players before the big tournaments, they often have had some new strategies, some new creep routes, something saved up. So it was like, okay, I'm meeting Hooligan. Maybe it's not that bad, and then he crushed me. And that's because they felt like human players often had some variations in their strategies for these big tournaments.
Yeah. Were you not at this tournament? I see Diesel and DD8.
No, I think we didn't. I don't remember even playing the qualifiers for this.
And Dennis, I guess, and Wizard, you guys were retired back then, or were you in this?
No, I was already retired by then. Yeah.
I was pretty much retired. I think the only other tournament I played after WEG 2005 and WCG 2005 was the 2006 WEG. But that was, again, mostly just like, wow, they invited me back, like, sure, I'll just go hang out, you know, have a good time and check out Korea more because I just wanted to travel. So, but I was pretty much just done, not really playing too much.
Yeah, I see Nilknarf was in there.
Yeah, he was kind of like the takeover after Wizard and I quit.
Yeah, and he was pretty good as well, I think.
Yeah, he was. Weren't you training him or something?
No, not. I don't think so.
That was Sonky.
You were training some American player, I remember.
Yeah, I mean training. Like we're talking strategy a bit. You know, it's not like
helping him, whatever.
I was like showing up in the morning with my tracksuit. Let's go for a run. Yeah, I remember. So I met Kiwikaki in 11. And then advance, and then I met this Chinese guy, Rabbit, who was talking a lot of trash. Like he was trying to tilt me before the game and stuff. So he was making like really snarky comments in the lobby. I was like, I'm about to punish you like you haven't been punished before. And so I demolished this guy. And then I remember I met Hooligan, and all same thing. Like he wasn't tilting me, but like I had lost to him a bunch of times on ladder, and I was like, okay, this is revenge time. Like this time I'm not losing to this guy. And then I won a pretty close series. And there is like a really fun interview, like you guys probably haven't seen it, but it's in French, at the end of this day that I did for a French media, where I'm trolling like crazy. Like they're asking me about the bracket, and I'm like, yeah, these Night Elves, you know, they play like a BS race. It's like magical. They can beat, any one of them can beat each other. Because Levin beat Soju. So I'm like, yeah, you know, it's Night Elf, it's magical. And then I'm just like ultra cocky, like Conor McGregor style, basically in the interview. Then I'm like, yeah, I met Hooligan then, and he beat me a couple times on ladders, so he got a little bit too cocky, and then I had to put him down and smash him and stuff. And then tomorrow it's Sky's turn. Let me tell you, it wasn't Sky's turn the day before, or the day after. He played Blizzard first on Twisted Meadows and smashed me. Like it was like, I think one of the most depressing games that I've ever played, actually, or like series, because it's like the finals, it's the big one, and then you lose like horribly 0-2 against strats that shouldn't even really work. And I remember, I think this is the only time I've ever cried after a defeat. I just went somewhere and I was like feeling really sad. I sat down and I started crying. And then one player from the team friends saw me and he was fucking, I was like, oh, for sure, they're going to tease me about this later on. But I don't even know why. I think like most tournaments, I never took it really that hard, but this one I took very hard. I think it's because I was trying really hard to win this tournament many years in a row, then I made finals and got smashed. So yeah, that was sad. Let's go 2007. If you guys, by the way, like I guess Dennis and Wizards, if you want to go or something, because we're not talking about your tournaments, it's fine. If you want to stick around, you're welcome to. Like whichever you guys prefer. Like I'm happy to have you on. But I can understand if you guys were a little bit boring because you guys had been retired by then or something. Okay, let's see. So it was again like a Giants player list, top 3 get spades. And in this one, so we got Creo in the group. You aced it and beat Grubby, Hound, Fooligan, Rotty. Oh, Rotty, Creo. Do we remember anything from this one?
Very vaguely, actually. How did I even get in second group stage? What was my first group?
I knew you were gonna. This is
yeah, but
because
I don't know. That's a pretty tough group, though. I think Grubby, Creo, Hunt, Fooligan, and even Jack was pretty good.
Oh, you had VankOr in group 1.
Oh! I probably took my own mouse back, so he had no mouse.
You don't remember the games at all, or?
No.
VankOr?
This one I don't remember so well.
I never beat RotterdaM. I remember that. I don't remember any games.
Yeah.
Good against Nork against undead. It was my worst matchup.
And then in Group G, Insomnia, you took 3rd place, and there was Lean and the Muslim. You remember anything?
No, I can't even remember where the venue of this event was.
This was in Paris. This one. I think
this one was in the weird convention center next to the highway or something, right? Like it wasn't in Bercy, it wasn't in a cool place. It was like you had to walk over the hills, and the hotels were like, oh, I do remember that. I remember getting lost walking back from the event with Grubby and stuff. I remember that part.
Oh yeah, now I remember. Yeah.
Wait, was it the one that was in like a rough area or something?
Yeah, that's what everybody told us.
Some people got stabbed.
What? Is this
You don't remember?
No, I wasn't there. I wasn't there. So.
I think some people got stabbed one of the first nights.
Jesus.
You know, Todd, I'm sad that you didn't check Acon 5. You know.
Okay, we'll do it after. I was focusing on like ESWC, WCG. Let's do it after this one.
Yeah.
But yeah, in this one, looks like Inso, you aced your group as well, or like, well, you did well. Finished first, 4-1 above Soju, Zeus, Fly, Sase, and Dave. You remember anything from that?
I remember I was glad to win against Soju since he won so many times in tournaments against me before that. And I also remember preparing for that tournament. I played a ton of games with Lin, and I remember winning 5 against 0. And I guess he took advantage of that practice.
Yeah. And yeah, actually, he met you in the quarterfinals, 1-2-0, then lost to Soju. And Creo, you made it to the finals.
Yeah, this was probably the time when I was getting the hang of Night Elf against Orc, because I ended up playing Grubby both in the group stage and in the semifinals. Of course, it was Mass Talons at the time, and in the final against Soju, I was like, Night Elf against Night Elf was one of my favorite matchup, and I was doing a lot of different strategies. But I remember this final that I was thinking, I got all these strategies to pick from, and I could do whatever I want. And then I ended up picking something that I thought would be very surprising, but in hindsight, I was going for what would be. I was doing more and more, and I remember Soju saying afterwards he was like having the whole Team Korea on the phone, like talking to Moon how we should proceed and everything. So the strategy was in the finals where was kind of failing quite hard. Yeah, like Twisted Meadows, Mass Huntresses. There were so many variations, so many timings in terms of when you wanted to expand, if you wanted to push, if you wanted to just stay on tier 1, if you wanted to tech and so on. And he got level, I think his second hero level got with Panda got level 3 quite fast. So it was a time when I thought that if I could get a rematch, it could end up differently.
Yeah.
But it was a tournament with quite a lot of. It was not a lot of human players. I don't know. It was. Yeah, with Sky and you, Todd, missing.
Yeah.
So it felt kind of good that it was like, if there were more human players, I would probably struggle in this tournament.
Kev, you remember anything from that group stage or that group stage of hell?
No, that looks like a tough group.
Yeah.
I generally don't remember those games that well. I remember the year before a lot more because I was really traumatized that I felt I was so good the first day and so bad the second.
Yeah.
This one, like now that I see the group, I'm like, I vaguely remember that, but I think I only beat Jack in that group. I think I lost to everybody else. So.
Yeah. Hooligan is like super underrated, like for how good he was, I think.
Yeah.
Don't necessarily know, but it was really, really sick. So what was the tournament you wanted me to check?
Acon 5. So it was a year after the first Acon, the one that Wizard won. A year after that, because that was my first international tournament ever. I've got a funny story for you on that one.
All right, here we go. This is the full bracket for it.
All right. So I think I lost to Mew twice, right? Is that correct? I did somewhat decent. I beat Ciara.
Wait, it was best of 1 in the winners bracket?
Yeah, everything is best of 1.
What is this
so
piece
we played,
of garbage tournament?
Yeah. So I don't really remember the upper bracket match that well, but I've got a great story for you guys from the lower bracket because this one is traumatizing, okay? So I lost against Mew in the upper bracket, but I was like, I actually think I can take him. You know, he's good, but he's not that good. And I beat Ciara, so I felt like I was on the run. And this is my first international tournament ever. It's the first time I ever traveled with a plane anywhere. So I was very excited. I was feeling good. And well, it's best of 1, and we ended up with Lost Temple because I know that Lost Temple was really good for a human, but it was also good for the way that I played. So I was like, all right. And I had this strategy where, like, let's say you spawned at the top side of the map, which I did. What I would always do is I work and scout the right side. And if he's there, well, then I just go middle and then I harass the expand later. But if he's not there, then I would run towards the expo on the left side of Lost Temple, you know, so at 9 o'clock. Because then if he's creeping that immediately, I can backstab. So I scout right side, he's not there. So I run to the left side. I creep the natural expand, basically, from the person who spawns at 9 o'clock. And I run towards the middle of the map afterwards to go towards the bottom because he's supposed to spawn at the bottom side of the map, right? Because he's not on the right side.
Are you talking about the rematch? Because I'm watching the first match.
Yeah. I'm talking about the rematch, the second match. And I walk towards the middle, and suddenly he's there with peasants, and I'm like, what the actual fuck is happening? Like, this is so fucking weird. And like, why is he here? He's level 1, and I'm like so confused after I just grabbed the left side natural expand there, and we started fighting, and I lose a wolf, and he gets level 2. And I'm like, whatever, like I just ignore this fight. And I walk all the way to the bottom side of the map, and the creeps are still there. I'm like, wait, what is happening? And I go back to the middle, and now he's creeping, and he's getting like level 2.6. I walk back towards the left side. Fucking Mew was so hangover that his fucking donkey picked Brilliance Aura as first spell and not Water Elemental. So he couldn't creep his natural. So he went to the middle of the map. Then I cleaned out his natural. So he expanded without me being there anymore. And then by the time I finally figured all of that out, he had towers up and everything. He got a level 3 Archmage and I lost the game. I was so fucking sad. It was like ridiculous. If I would have not creeped the left side, he would have never been able to expand because he would have been stuck at level 1 forever. He fucking picked Brilliance Aura first. And I cleaned out his natural, then he expanded, and he beat me. So sad.
Seems like one of those games where like everything's going wrong, and that's sick. Yeah. There's the VOD actually for the first game that you guys played in the upper brackets.
Yeah, I think it's just losing Wyvern and shit, right? Yeah.
It was cross map.
That one. I think I just took bad fights in the middle of the map, but the rematch is really painful. He picked Brilliance Aura first, mate.
They were playing Wyvern back then. The meta was like so weird. Oh, look at the tower position. They're like, it's comical looking at all games. They're like so spread out as well. Oh, we caught a couple peasants here, did we, Kev? If you look at all games and then you compare them to today's games, like it feels like the level was like so much lower.
This game I don't remember that well, but the rematch is traumatizing for me. Fucking hell.
You were on Fnatic back then.
Yeah,
That
that was my first tournament ever that I represented Fnatic in. Because I think I joined Fnatic like a week before that event or something, because they were really happy that I was going there.
You say GG at least.
Yeah, definitely did not say when I lost to Bruin Zoro, mate. No,
There's no vote for that, sadly. I would have opened it. But yeah, pretty deep run for Remind and Deadman, who make top 3, and Sky was actually able to win. Oh, you had a pretty good. You make what, top 6? Yeah, 5-6 with Bloody as well.
The first tournament ever was okay, but that match was so sad.
It happens,
so sad.
man. Oh, you beat Venom and then Etched. Etched was actually very decent. And then you beat Ciara, so you definitely beat a couple good players in there. I think I didn't do the next one, which it was like Code 5.
Yeah, that was in Beijing. That one was really sad too for me. I was in a group with Grubby there. I remember that very well. Those games I remember super well. So sad.
Code 5 2006. Main events.
That was in Beijing, right?
Yeah.
In the gym back then. They had like this university gym. It was pretty cool.
No, it was like kind of like a stadium, a small stadium.
Yeah, it was like a badminton stadium. Like people were practicing badminton or table tennis.
Yeah.
Actually.
So in this one, Creo, you were there as well. You were in a group with what the hell? You advanced with 1 and 2. You were in a group with Fov, Jun Wong, and Canuck. Do you remember these games or?
I cannot.
Did I lose? At least I lost the Fav, probably Canuck as well.
Yeah.
He was, playing on that. I don't remember the specifics, but I remember that like whenever I was playing against Fav, I would lose. He was like my favorite player and undead against Night Elf. So even though I watched everything he did, it was still very, very hard to beat him.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what really stands out for me in this tournament, Todd?
What?
The map pool. Because if I will ever think back of one tournament in my life where I felt like I could have maybe won like the big international one, this was it. Because you had 2 vetoes, and you look at that map pool, it had like Lost Temple, Gnorwood, Echo Isles with 2 fountains, and Maelstrom. It was the absolute sickest thing ever.
Secret Valley.
Yeah, but then, like I didn't even like Secret Valley that much, but you know the other ones is just insane, like absolutely insane.
Yeah. And you had a tough group with Grubby and Swain.
Yeah.
Make it out of this one. I had a group with Deadman, lost to him. I remember every time I met Soju in a tournament, I was in confidence, and then every time I beat him. Every tournament. Then I beat Fov and lost to Deadman in finals. And then Creo, you lost to Grubby. What happened? I thought you figured out the talents.
This was before 2006.
Okay.
But I remember the finals against Deadman. I remember watching.
Yeah.
I was so confident that you would win it, and then
I think I didn't play that great this series, and he played really good.
Yeah.
He was a very good player for sure.
I remember these tournaments when we traveled, we would always like pick on each other races, like Human is in balance, Night Elf is in balance.
Yeah.
And when we practiced against each other, like in general, whenever we were in 4K at least, we used to do reverse races a lot. I don't know if you remember that, but it was like, I felt like tower rushing was too good, and you felt like whatever Night Elf could come up with was too good. So if I remember correctly, after this one, you were like so mad that it was impossible to win. I don't know if the map was Twisted Meadows, perhaps. Yeah, Twisted Meadows was the first. And forever after, when we practiced, I felt like you were doing the same strategies that Deadman was doing when we were doing reverse races, and I was still tower rushing.
And you were winning?
Yeah, because of course we are not excellent at the. I'm not excellent at human, and you are not a Night Elf, unfortunately. So if we do cheap strategies, we would win.
Yeah, I remember my off-race was never really good.
Yeah. But I think it's funny because we were so used to practicing and winning a lot. So when we met, either it was you or Grubby or whatever, we were not used to just win 50%, and we would get quite mad. It's like at each other or whatever. Like then we started playing off races because we were not used to suddenly losing half of our practice games.
Yeah. I'm trying to see what was the next one after that, because this one was in 2006, but there is no Code 5 2007 listed. There's only one in 2008. That might be the one in Russia. Yeah. Okay, so we'll stay to 2007. Wait, did we do both the ESWC? I'm getting a bit lost here.
I think we did 2007, but not 2008.
Yeah, we did ESWC and WCG for 2007, or we did
Oh,
ESWC?
not WCG. We did ESWC, and then we had I think it was PGL, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't know if we have to do PGL because we still have to do quite a few.
Yeah, but it was funny because it was like a totally different tournament. So even though I did good in ESWC and WCG the same year, we had PGL in between, and we also had BlizzCon, and it was a bit random between going out in the group stages and winning the whole tournament.
Yeah.
It was small randomnesses in terms of maps or just how the games went.
Yeah.
So Creo, the first question I have about the WCG event, because that's the one they always told me, is that you were sitting in the plane with a notepad and you were drawing out strategies and creep routes. Is this true? When you were flying to Seattle?
And you had Sun Tzu Auto-Fly in your backpack as well.
Yeah, and we also shared room. I think I shared room with a Finnish guy not playing Warcraft 3, but at least when I went further on, I wanted to do a bit of preparation. It was the same before the final, trying to figure out what strategies to use and so on.
Because you didn't play for a long time. You were actually retired at that point, right? Before the
I started school and I went BlizzCon, and then I started school in August, and then this was in, what was it, October? Yeah. So I just had 1 week where I said, okay, now I stop whatever reading I have to do and just do as much as I can in 1 week. And I also tried to, we had some practice time, I remember, in before the group stage. So there was some practice time to utilize, and I lost quite a lot. But as Shortround had in his example, it was like the practice games made me a bit better step for step. And I barely passed the group stage.
Yeah, you had to play tiebreakers. And I feel like even in the playoffs, you were often behind, right? Like, I actually remember following the entire run. And I feel like you were close to being eliminated a couple times. Like, I think was it X-Lord or something, an undead who almost eliminated you. Obviously, you were down against Hooligan.
Hooligan is always good. X-Lord, he had this strategy on Gnollwood where he would manage to expand somehow, and he would tower up and just run around with DK Lich, 80 pop with gargoyles, and then I could never catch him.
That run was so sick because you had to play tiebreakers, and then you kept going down in the playoffs. Like, it's actually, like, I often tell people, and by coincidence, this was without you guys even or without me being aware of it, that we were going to do this and you were going to be here, is that I shared this story because I think it's one of the most magical esports stories of all time. You know, how you were retired, then like almost lost in the group stage, but somehow survived. And then in the playoffs, you kept going down and you somehow survived. And then in the grand finals, you played a guy who won it the last 2 times in a row and was going to be the first esport athlete ever to win it 3 times in a row. And you go down again in the grand finals. Like, it is legit. Like, I felt it was a scripted story. It was actually too perfect. I think it's awesome.
You remember the tiebreakers and everything, like the way the games went, Creo, at all, or?
Yeah, I remember the group stage, especially. Like, I lost to one of the undeads, APM, probably. Like, it was. Normally when we played, especially when I joined 4K, you try to be 100% stable, so you would never lose any map. You would practice your worst matchups on your worst map all the time. But I didn't really have time to do that in these scenarios, so I had some holes in my general strategies or the way you played. So that's why I dropped some of the maps, which I couldn't have time to prepare something new for. But as I said, I felt like it went gradually better, and so the tiebreakers went quite well. And then I was it Shouty? I played the Orc when we started with the playoffs, and X-Lord, of course, and the Hooligan, and kind of because of the PGL story, which was why I mentioned PGL in the summer.
Yeah.
I practiced a lot with different Chinese players, and it somehow ended up helping me in this tournament in terms of what strategies they used and so on. Because I think in the years before, like 2005, maybe 2006, it was like China was they had their own server. Of course, we didn't practice with the Chinese, so they had this own meta game. And whenever you met them in tournaments, they could play something totally different, which you were not used to playing against. So that helped, of course. And then the final, I don't know if you remember this, Todd, but we went early to the stadium to practice. You were my training partner on the morning before the final, and we practiced like Knollwood. And you, it was funny because it was like you started to be annoyed about the matchup on Knollwood, and I was like, yeah, but it's a final now. We have to practice that a bit. But we were doing some kind of variation that didn't really help me in the final anyways for that map. So it was great to have the practice in front of the final. Yeah. That probably also helped me because I know Sky was probably super confident. He had won the 2 last years. This would be his third, his hat trick. He had beaten Moon 2-0 from the start. But I also had some things I worked with since I played in like 4 or 5 matches in PGL in the summer, which I could utilize. And of course, trying to use cheap strategies if I could, making it easier.
I think just looking at, I think just looking at this bracket, it also emphasizes on how fucking epic this story is. Because on one hand, you have the retired, like, yeah, you won BlizzCon, and second place ESWC, that was really cool. But then Creo's like struggling in the group, struggling in tiebreakers, in the playoffs, he's down all the time. And back then, going into it, the story was already all about Sky against Grubby, right? That was even the documentary made back then, Beyond the Game, I think, by the Dutch movie maker, who just followed Sky and Grubby. And then you look at Sky's run in this tournament. He's 2-0 in Grubby, like the big story going into it that year. 2-0 at SLH, well, sure. Then he also 2-0's Moon. And then even in the grand final, he's 1-0 over Creo. Like, I honestly like that. I think that's the most insane esports story of all time. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. The guy who's winning everything looks so good, and then Creo is just barely getting by, and somehow Creo stops Sky from winning his third in a row. Like, it's just ridiculous.
I remember that like anytime that you qualified for WCG Finals, the next day, like the finals was always on a different day. So every time that you would qualify, you would come back the next day, and you were allowed one practice partner to practice with the morning. And then you asked me to do it, and I was like pretty happy. I feel like I was even more invested in the finals now. So I remember, I practiced with you, and I remember my mindset. I was like, he needs to win. Like already I was going to think that if you were just going to play. But no, I was like, if he wins, it's like if I win. His success is my success. So I need to help him as much as possible. And it's weird because usually, I wouldn't really reveal everything that I think about the matchup because I also like need to make sure I don't like screw myself, every time that I play against you. Like you can't know everything that I think, but I thought that this time I was like, I need to tell him as much as I know, and then hopefully it helps him. And I remember we played quite a few games, and then obviously I got mad after I lost. It sounds like me, but
yeah, it sure helped. It sure helped. That's kind of funny as well because we players we kind of want to keep our strategies for ourselves.
Yeah.
So maybe when I was going out the door afterwards, it didn't really matter that much. But it's the same for everything when we are casting and so on. That if you're an active player, you are like keeping information to yourself, at least some of it. You can't really tell anything. And I see the same with like for you, Rotti, in the Netherlands, you have Cruyff, the football manager. Like when they retired, they say everything. They say why Barcelona won, why they lost, why the tactics worked. But if you are in the game, you kind of have to stick to yourself a bit, even though we are teammates. So I remember those practice games, and you were like doing on Tirina stand, defend footman. I was like, okay, maybe I can't beat this. Let's go to the next map.
Did you ever play another big tournament after that?
I think there was like one team tournament in Germany,
Yeah, the
That's
NGL one
only-
in Berlin. That one. Or-
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Ah, yeah, you beat me there. You actually saved 4 kings. That was the final match. You beat me, and then you beat Elecdog,
Really?
I think, on Gnoll Wood.
Yeah.
And that was very sad. I tower rush you. We were bottom spawn on Turtle Rock. It was in the cinema building, right?
Yeah.
That was pretty cool because we were 1 player short. So our manager, Trimble, back then had to play the first match against Todd, and Todd was already ignored. He's like, what the fuck, why do they have to play this? So Todd obviously won. And then we had El Fitaya with his 12 APM. Came out and then he beat Todd on Twisted Meadows. I remember. That was a
I don't
good
know why you're
memory.
talking about tournaments that we're not talking about anyway. Shut up. Creo, can you take us through the games, like one by one, as you remember them? Like you played Terran
Sky?
first? Yeah.
On Torino Stand, I was like, the metagame there was not quite set. I used Dark Ranger and Demon Hunter a lot, mainly Demon Hunter. And then I think it was one of the, who was it, Soju from Korea, who started using Warden, like getting level 3 Warden quite fast. And I had seen it in the tournament, so I was considering if I should make a strategy with Warden. And then I think also Zeus played Sky in a practice game or something with Dark Ranger M1. And Zeus was saying, yeah, Dark Ranger works great. So I was trying to pick a strategy with that. Obviously, I hadn't practiced it a lot. It was more of a improvised strategy right there and then. And I lost kind of the important timings, like you get the skeletons rolling up and then you hit the expand at the exact point. And when you miss those timings, the game stops quite fast.
Yeah.
And then on Gnollwood, we had...
it was the best tier 1 game with Glaive, no?
Not on Torino Stand. We take to tier 2, I know, but...
Not on
Yeah, on Gnollwood, yes. It was mass tier 1, and that's because we were close position, but at the time I didn't really scout. I was doing a Huntress build, but I remember that most humans in tournaments would not scout. They would just wait for the Wisp to come, and then they would know where the elf is located and if it's close position. So I was just keeping to myself and trying to not reveal my position. And I ended up with like a double AoE Huntress build, and he was, because I knew Sky would often try to expand on Norwood. And that worked quite well. I managed to push at the right time. And then we had Twisted Meadows, which I didn't really feel confident about because I had been losing, again, in PGL to mass tanks quite a lot. I had no idea how to stop it. But since the Gnollwood game went quite well, then I thought, okay, I'll do double AoE hunts again on Twisted Meadows. And then...
I found the Gnollwood game VOD, by the way, on the stream. If you
yeah, I can see. There is the push, yeah. But the game is over already here.
I was surprised like... I wasn't sure this was gonna work at all, but I guess the position and like the execution were like good enough. Yeah, those are tricky.
Got too much stuff here.
Yeah. And then also have the Twisted Meadows game. One of the most epic games, I think some would agree, that ever happened, because it's in the finals, like it's 1-1, and it wasn't really looking that good.
If you look objective on it, it's not the best games, but the best among the best games. But that's what makes it interesting when you start to make a couple of mistakes and both players make mistake. Here it was the same meta game where I wanted to stop his expand. I went double AoE. With hunts, I think he at the point pulled peasants or militia to tower rush me, and then he was saying like, okay, this this I'm not gonna do, so he pulled back. And then it was a teching game with a totally messed up build order where you have a lot of huntresses, and he also had a lot of tier 1. It was delayed tech from both of us. So I remember getting sentinels and so on. And yeah, here I see the big mistake in the game where I didn't know that he was TPing. I was using sentinels around the map, and I was seeing on the mini-map that he was walking towards the base. Or so I thought.
Yeah.
So I didn't check the TP soon enough, and I didn't have staff on Demon to get out. And then suddenly here I felt like I lost the whole momentum in the match. And yeah, barely hang on.
When he started this push, it just felt like, all right, well, this is, the end, right? It's like it's going to be unstoppable.
Yeah.
Like, what's your mindset like in that moment? Do you remember like what you were thinking? Were you thinking like, oh fuck? Are we thinking like, keep it together? Maybe you can do this.
Yeah, I remember I wanted to try to drag the push out as long as possible to get my Naga back. That was the idea, because I think she had like a greater mana and something, and like I really wanted the Naga for the fight. But of course, the human army is better in general to kite back and forth with the slow and healing and so on.
Yeah, the demon actually started the fight exactly on level 5 here, so it feels like you're basically super far away from level 6 at this point, which would be like the saving grace, really.
Yeah, and it was not the plan to get level 6. To be honest, it was more the plan to hold on as long as possible, pick up units, back and forth, get Nag out, like here. Yeah, greater mana. At the time, we didn't really drop the pendant, but yeah. That's 2007 for you. And here I felt like, okay, still, I just have to try to pick off the casters.
Yeah, you completely out of Moonwells here, and like it was daylight, so you pop a Moonstone. There were some sick staffs in there. Like the staffs were so important with this style. I remember that Hot also was one of the very good players with like bears and stuff, but now you're actually getting pretty close to level 6. Losing that Naga actually like made your demon get all of the XP, I'm not gonna say it was the winning move, but it somehow allowed you to get demon level 6 earlier.
Yeah, and I think, when is it? Probably here I realized that, okay, now it's looking good. I was always abolishing the water elementals, so that's free experience, quite a lot as well. So.
But the demon was just a bit of damage away from falling. And the thing about this push is that Sky didn't really get too many breakers, so you can't even really steal rejuvenation. And then eventually you get level 6, and I remember people just lost it there because they realized what was happening, that you were actually winning from these points. And there was actually like, if you look at the group stage game VODs on YouTube, there is not really anybody there. But for the finals, there was a lot of people. It was a packed house. Like everybody was super hyped.
I'm just excited to see Elf beating Human in the finals.
To see what?
Elf beating Human.
Oh, yeah, that sure as hell didn't happen when you made the finals.
You know the strategy on Knollwood with like mass hunts, because you had to stop the expander or you have to play another game. But that was kind of remembering back to 2005 and the Lost Temple games.
Yeah.
Against Sky, both how my games went against Sky and the games for Shortround. And trying to pick, okay, if it could work on Lost Temple, it should work on Knollwood at least.
I'm curious, Wizard and Shortround, were you guys following the game at all at this time, or?
No, I completely stopped following. I think like 2006, like mid 2006, whenever WCG was happening, that was like the last time I was like watching games at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember like I wasn't following, but I just remember reading the news and be like, "What? Korea won?" I was super shocked too. Like, good for him though.
Yeah. I think the Vampiric helped quite a bit as well, obviously with the bears, because you were like so bear heavy. But maybe like the counter attack where you lost your Naga, the fact that he TP'd so quickly, even though he had 2 guard towers, maybe that was the mistake, because even though he killed your Naga, that was his one timing where he's like the strongest. Like he allowed you to get more units, potentially. But that was a sick hold in any case. And definitely one of the most memorable moments that's made you basically a living legend on the game from this point onwards, winning this. Do you remember, like, there was a press conference after, right?
Yeah, we had it right away, yeah.
Like, how did that feel like? Were you thinking, like, I can't believe this happened, or?
Yeah, it was kind of strange. On one... my mindset was to make the games or to do as good as possible, and well, you never know if you end up winning or losing. It was not. I didn't really go into there like having a relief that I won, which I did in some other tournaments where you kind of like, okay, I've practiced everything I've done laid out the last 3 months just to win this tournament, and you go in as a favorite and then you win, and then you have this big relief. I didn't really have it. This was more like the shock of winning.
Yeah.
So it's a kind of a different story, and it was kind of like you didn't really plan for it at all. Just unexpected, I guess. And the plane, it was like, then you have to consider should you continue gaming or should you stop as the plan was. And someone went up to me and were like, I think one of the managers like, okay, there's a new tournament in Las Vegas in 1 week. Are you in or out? And I said, okay, give me the flight home to think about it. So I was sitting on the plane with the textbook in math and trying to read, and I was like, it's a good life to be a gamer as well. But it kind of stuck to the plan. But of course, it's once you start attending a lot of tournaments and you get up there where you can have a salary, where you can travel all around the world, it's very rewarding to do that. And the bad part about it is that there's only one winner. So if you go to the studies and you have an exam, you can always get an A, even though Sky is sitting next to you getting A's as well on Utah. So tournaments, there's only one winner, and that's the really hard part about gaming.
Yeah.
Of course, it's all professional sports.
But so, like, at the time where you retired, you were like really good. Like, was it like why would you retire when you were this good? I think most people would kind of want to ask that, because you were doing really well, and even down, like, you were retired and you won the biggest tournament against the biggest player.
Yeah, it was like I time boxed the what I tried to do with gaming for like 12 months. I joined 4K, then I took a break in my studies. I was like, okay, now I will do everything I can to become to do this life as a pro gamer. And I remember the first 6 months was challenging. Like when you play, you qualify for tournaments, but you don't really. The qualifiers might be like 6 months before the actual tournament. So it was kind of a time where there were not a lot of things happening. I was just practicing. We were playing these team tournaments. We were playing, what was it, In Cup every Sunday, where you could do like the whole day. You could be playing this tournament, waiting for players, and at least keeping the stage setting the stage for some matches that mattered. And in the end, you never know if you are going to succeed or not. You can't go into something and say, okay, I want to win the tournament. You just have to try your best and see how it goes.
Insomnia, when you won WCG, I guess the experience was different for you. Like, you were going into it to win it, basically, and like it wasn't so much as a surprise.
Yeah, I was aiming for top 3 at least.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would have considered myself one of the favorites back then. But I just wanted to say that I was quite impressed by Creo quitting at the top back then.
It's hard to do, right?
Yeah, not many people do that, but kudos.
Do you think you would have done it if you lived in a different country as well, Creo? Because I know, like, gaming money in Norway is not maybe the same as gaming money in, let's say, like Ukraine or something, right? Life in Norway is super expensive, so.
Yeah, for sure, that matters as well. Like, I felt like salary-wise, you could feed a whole family. In some countries, in Norway, you are barely doing, like, in terms of wage per hour, how much you earn per hour is rather low. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of the safety net you have with an education and everything. And it was also a decision point where you thought already had moved to China, and I felt like the next step for me would be to move to China to get better practice partners and keep working on the matchups that I was weak at. Especially human players in China were great. So it was this decision point combined with the safety of going the standard route. And yeah, as I said, also it's a one-time experience, but you you kind of have to pick right there if you want to stay on it and keep doing it, and especially StarCraft 2 was in the making. We played it at BlizzCon, I remember, the first beta. So the cards were to switch to StarCraft 2 if I was to continue for long.
Yeah.
I feel like I remember that we played a little bit in Spain as well, in Madrid. Do you remember that? They had PC set up there for us to practice StarCraft 2.
Yeah.
We had the European Battle.net Invitational qualifiers, and I remember you played Zerg in those games, and I remember thinking like, man, Creo has so many Zerglings. He's really good at this game. Little did I know now, everybody has a lot of Zerglings.
Yeah. It's not fair to to rush someone when you're starting out a new game for the first time.
I got a question for Shortround and Wizard. This is from Bidu, the Dust team manager. It's the best North American team. He also organizes Dust League. He says, he wanted me to ask, please ask the NA boys today what they think about the current NA scene, if they've been following it at all, and their aspirations to come back, if at all. Please, please, please.
So yeah, actually my roommate, Soulglider, I think he was on last week.
Yeah,
he's been playing a lot of Warcraft 3. He used to be really good back in the day, and so he's got me back into it a little bit. I started playing on the pad ladder, but only played like 10 games or something. So I want to eventually start playing more, but right now I'm just trying to focus on like some work stuff. So I'm not really sure when and if I'll get back into it. Having checked out the scene though, I feel like I can be competitive, but then like I think like you were saying, Todd. Like going back and looking at the old games, you know, from 2005, 2006, like when people were like the best players back then, you see so many mistakes. You're like, holy shit! Like compared to now, people have gotten a lot better. So like, I don't know, it would take a long time, I think, to actually be competitive in the current scene.
There's no doubt in my mind that somebody that was really good once at Warcraft 3 could be good again if they put in the effort. So for sure, I think if you actually really wanted it and then you played, you for sure would get good. And about the top players in the NA scene, we got like, I guess Hitman and Cruncher are the top. Sonky came back recently. I know you're well acquainted with Sonky. Like, what do you think about all this?
I actually played him once in the pad ladder and he beat me. But yeah, I haven't watched too many of Hitman's games or like Cruncher's games or anything like that really. But I know that they seem pretty good in general. And I know that Hitman plays on the Chinese the NetEast ladder and does pretty well, I guess. That's what I hear, and like he does well on European ladder even with high ping. So yeah, he seems pretty good, I guess.
Yeah, Long Walk is in there in the mix as well. He was one of the better American players for the last few years too.
Okay.
Wizard.
Yeah, for me, I just had a kid 2 months ago, so probably not in the cards for me to. Thank you. Yeah, I have to dedicate the time, but
yeah,
I'll still watch the scene and maybe get in a few games here and there. You know, I play the easier games now that you can play with a kid, like Hearthstone, where you know you can play it with one hand and take 3 minutes for your turn. So
yeah,
maybe once my kid gets a little older and he can play with me, then I can get him back in the scene. And he can be the next pro.
Have you ever told him yet that you were once a professional gamer, or?
I mean, I haven't told him the story. He's only 2 months, but maybe it'll sink in, you know.
Replies is like, Dad, I want to play undead. It sounds really good. It's like, well, those were his first watch. That's amazing.
I didn't realize he was just 2 months. Yeah. I guess eventually, right? You're gonna share the stories. You know what saddens me is that there's not many VODs on YouTube of these old times, right? Like you can hardly find any. There's a very few that are like bad quality, so even like reminiscing, you can't really get to watch as much. I guess we have to use like our bad memory, but we can't remember this much. But yeah, it's
I mean, I think I was like right before the time where they really VOD and recorded the games, and so maybe Warcraft replays if they ever are they still around right now? I mean, maybe they have some of the old ones, but yeah, I don't think most of my games unfortunately exist on the interwebs.
We can look it up real quick. Let's see, Wizard Grubby. It would just be like a straight up VOD, I guess. Oh, I see some game from BlizzCon. I don't know if it's like from an official broadcast or something. Well, yeah, there's a couple games on there. If you want to have a look. Looks like you went Firelord this game. Okay. we kind of skipped a tournament from 2006, which maybe we can go over. I don't think we have too many years left to do as well. We'll just probably go up to like 2009, I think, and then call it. So yeah, I'll just go back 1 year real quick, 2006, because somebody in the chat mentioned it. WEG, which was one of the bigger ones with 30K up top. And one of the few ones that actually won. And this one, thank God they paid. And I remember, yeah, the group was like really close. And I think there was a tiebreaker because Moon smashed everybody. So it was 3-0, and then I lost to Shouty and Ghost Up. Then we had to do regames, and then I beat both of them. And it was only 8 players actually in this tournament. And then in semis, finally got my revenge against Sky. There's the VODs on YouTube actually for this one. That's sick. And then beat Grubby in the finals. You know, we made a deal with Grubby before the finals that we had to split the prize pool. And then so after I got paid, the first place is 30K and second place is 7K. I had to go to the bank and be like, yeah, I want to transfer like 10,000 euro or something to like this guy. And they just look at me like, what the fuck? Yeah, that was pretty sick. But yeah, that was that was a pretty sick tournament. You guys followed that at all back then, or?
I remember that waking up because that tournament was played at a very awkward time. And I remember that I woke up and I opened SK Gaming back then. And then there was like the picture of like either Grubby on the table or something like this. And I was like, what the fuck? The final is ToDGaming. Like they both won. I was like, Mom, they both won. And she's like, I don't give a fuck. Like, to me, it was really special because, you know, Grubby always lost against Sky and you obviously always lost against Moon or the other way around. And I was like, I can't believe they're both in the final. I thought it was really cool. As a fan back then, I thought it was really cool.
Was that after WEG 2006, the second season?
Yeah, that was basically season 3, I think.
Okay.
Or like season 4, maybe. Yeah, that was season 4, I think. Yeah, season 3 was before that.
Okay.
VankOr, did you follow this?
Oh, no, I don't remember. I'm amazed. I was just watching that Zakar did 0-3 on the groups. He used to be so good.
Yeah, but I mean, this group is ridiculous. Sky, Grubby, and Sweet.
But Sweet?
Yeah. It was best of 1. Like, yeah, anything can happen. I think Zakar was starting to struggle a little bit. Sorry, go ahead.
Grubby 3-1.
Yeah.
3-0? Impressive.
Insomnia, did you follow at all after this? Or like from this point?
No.
Not even vaguely from afar? Not curious at all? You don't care about your boy doing well in tournaments? What's up, man?
I was playing poker full time at that point.
Yeah. All good. All right. Code 5, I think we can move into 2008 now. So Code 5, 2008, since we were talking about Code 5 earlier. That was the one in Russia. I had never been to Russia. And then I was like, wait, you actually need to get a visa to go to Russia? This is some BS. Like usually I only ever needed a visa for China. And then they were like, oh yeah, you need to get like a health insurance as well. I'm like, what is going on that I need to get a health insurance to travel there for like a few days? So anyway, went there. And I guess you can kind of say the favorites advanced to the grid. Rotti, what the hell?
Well, I had a very tough group, mate. And I played well. I still remember one game very well against Shy.
Okay.
I think I beat Shy on Turtle Rock. Is that correct?
Okay, we can see.
Okay, but I think I took Shy on Turtle Rock. I picked up 3 mentals of intelligence on my Farseer, and I was like, fucking +9 intelligence, +9 damage. I'm gonna beat him, and then I did beat him. But look who ended up in the fucking finals of this tournament. Okay, and I played well against both of them.
Like, yeah, that's pretty sick, actually.
I had the 2 finalists in my group. I think I did all right that tournament.
I didn't even realize Shy got the finals there. He went on a hell of a run, actually. Beat Grubby. I remember I lost to Soccer. This was like the dawn of the Warden. It was pretty sick, actually, with Warden. And yeah, Infeed just powered through everybody. He didn't lose a map. That's he lost 1 map in the group. Was that against you? Probably not.
Oh.
You?
No, I don't think I took a map of Infeed.
Yeah, it must have been Shy, I guess.
No, I took a map of Shy. I lost.
Hazob's a bit happy? Damn.
Happy was playing back then?
Yeah. Of course.
Was he good?
Yeah, he was pretty good. Like now he's like one of the best players in the whole scene, but back then he was pretty good, but not the top guy. So we were at what, 2008, right? Yeah. I don't think we did. ESWC 2008. That was the
Shortround,
one.
do you remember Panic?
Yeah. Did you see him?
He's on mute. I cannot remember a lot, but I remember being in an airport with Shortround and Panic, and I don't know, something was wrong, but I cannot recall.
For this tournament?
Wait, what was this?
Oh, this was in America, right?
San Jose, yeah.
Yeah. Who won? That's the good old meme.
Yeah, looking at the groups, it kind of seems straightforward. Shriek was in there actually as the American player.
I took a map of Sky. I remember that. I was like,
Oh, come on, Kev, you gotta stop losing those group stages, bro.
Yeah.
The Muslim was there. Actually, there is some epic photo of like you, the Muslim, me, and then maybe Wolf, and we're like going to a mall and like we grabbed some Johnny Rockets. What was the name of the big burger that got there?
The double Johnny Rocket burger. That was amazing. That's when we got the shakes as well that Shortround was talking about earlier, where you get a massive milkshake and then you get the side cup. And I was like, yeah, this is the life.
Oh yeah, Sase made top 8, lost to Who, Rain beat Lin, Sky beat TH. I remember I met Ted and I was pretty confident, and then he proxied the Necropolis next to my expo on Echo Island and just like did a slow push with like towers and everything. I was like, what the shit is this? And I lost. But yeah, Who had a really impressive performance. Moon lost in a group. He lost to Rain and me. What the hell? I expected more from you, Moon. Come on.
Hey,
that was rare actually for Moon to drop out like this in a group.
Grubby and...
Yeah, good memories. This one as well. WCG 2008. Let's see.
That was the one in Cologne, right? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That was an epic one.
Oh, I remember. So like WG, there was a WG season that happened just before this, and I think I lost in a group stage to like Ted and then somebody, or like I don't even know, like just a bunch of players. And I remember I was like so depressed. I went out every day and I drank like crazy for a couple of days, and then I traveled to Cologne immediately after, and then I had like some sort of stomach infection. It was a terrible tournament for me because I felt super sick. Not a good experience, but somehow still advanced. And this feels like Infi lost in the group. What? Sase, Grubby, and Yos advanced over Infi. Wait, why did only 2 players advance from this one? Oh, there was only... Wait. Oh, no, it didn't lose. No, wait. Okay, these were tiebreakers and these were tiebreakers, looks like. Because only 2 players advanced, Ted and Hooligan. Okay, I should have checked that before. So there was a lot of tiebreakers, actually. I guess this is why they don't do groups like this anymore. Look, everybody that's yellow were tiebreakers. So that's 4 groups. Kev.
Yes.
Who the fuck is Atsa?
Hey, Akai, he's a poker player from Serbia. He's my buddy.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I did beat Focus. I remember that.
Yeah.
I beat Focus.
Kiyukaki had a rough day in the office, too.
Fucking Lucifron was so good. I actually practiced with Lucifron quite a bit before that. And at the beginning, I was like beating him, and I was like, why does this Spanish kid want to play with me all the time? And he kept asking. And then one day, he won 3 games in a row, and I was like, all right. And then I tried 3 more, and he won the next 3 too, and I was like, we're done. Fucking Lucifron is too good. Like, I just gave up at one point. I was like, okay. I actually thought Lucifron was so good.
Yeah. He was damn good, yeah. And then this bracket... Happy beat Bonecracker, then lost to won against Sase, and then Moon. The Moon against Grubby Grand Finals. I remember being 1-1 against Grubby, and then I think it was Twisted Meadows last map, and then I was doing all right, and then he started doing hit and run with Raiders.
Yeah, I remember that.
The famous rat style that I'm so fond of. Then suddenly I was eliminated. Then he beat Hodge. So Grubby won how many WCG? 2, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Almost 3.
And nobody has ever won 3, right?
No, he almost won 3.
Sky almost did, and then Grubby almost did.
Okay.
And then Happy, I guess, started rising, as one of the better players as well in the scene, beating Hot for the 3rd place match. Hot has so many deep runs in WCGs as well, but never really like made finals or won any. But he did well in the WCG Europe version where he won 1, I think, and made finals maybe as well. We did ESWC, right?
You haven't taken a look at any of the Battle.net invitationals. Those were very prestigious as well, you know?
I'm not even sure how to find them. Battle.net invitation. I mean, and also we've been going for 3 hours, so
I know.
I
I'm
need
just
to get
saying.
some sleep.
But that was actually an important tournament series because Remind was always winning those, right? But
Yeah.
I think for a lot of us back then, those were very fun tournaments. Because I think back of like when Blizzard just invited like top 20 of the ladder to go to Sweden back then, you know, in Stockholm. I think you were there too, right, Insomnia?
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, we stayed at the Hilton, like near Slussen in Stockholm. I thought it was super fucking awesome. Like Blizzard treated us really well back then. Gave us nice dinner at TGI Fridays and shit like that. But yeah, it was a really cool event.
I remember at the airport there was like a guy in a suit with a limo picking you up.
Yeah.
Do you remember Happy's only ever joke at TGI Fridays?
Yeah, that he said that his ribs look like a boneyard or something. He had baby back ribs and he tore them apart. He's like, it's like boneyard. And we're like, wow, that's the only funny thing you've ever said, Happy.
Oh my god. Hey, Insomnia, I remember we played random against each other at this tournament or something, because we already advanced anyway to the finals or whatever. And then I think I lost to you, and then I was like so mad.
Yeah, I remember I won, but I forgot that we played random. Yeah, it didn't matter because it only mattered who were the top 4. Or
Yeah,
was
yeah.
It?
And it was Sase, you, me, and then somebody else, I think.
Yeah.
I can't remember. But in this one, okay, so Electronic Sports World Cup Master of Chonan, so it was like a weird variant of ESWC in Korea, where Lucy-Front won and then Lean second and Fly third. Damn, these orcs. Taking over. Where's Rotty in there?
I wasn't. I think I was already casting a lot by then because I casted the one in Cologne. Obviously, I casted the event in Madrid back then.
You cast me against Grubby in Cologne?
Yeah, I probably casted.
If I find these VODs, you better be kind to me.
Well, you probably won't understand a word of what I said, mate. Don't worry about it. I don't know why people thought it was good back then, but it wasn't. I thought Lucifron was actually so fucking good. I do remember that. I felt like he never really got the credits for that, but I do believe there was a small period, maybe for like 6 months, where I actually think Lucifron was the best player in Europe back then, but people never really rated him for it. But didn't he win in Madrid too, the qualifier back then? Or no?
I can't remember if he won, but I know he qualified, yeah. I think I lost to him in the qualifying match. And then after that, I don't remember.
I have the feeling he won that one. Or Happy won, actually. I think Happy won in Madrid.
What would be the name? Like,
it was season 5, Battle.net season 5. Or 6, actually, 6. Because season 5 was in Hamburg.
And what year?
That's like 2007, 2008. I can take a look for you. It was the Battle.net.
Not easy to find. God damn, Happy has way too many tournaments listed.
I remember Remind kept winning the big one back then.
BlizzCon 2008 Europe Regional Finals 2008.
Maybe it was that one that I'm thinking.
Yeah, Happy won actually.
And Lucy got second there, or?
Sase got second.
I see.
And Lucy from third. And
that was really surprising.
Only 3 players made it to BlizzCon and I finished 4th. Feels bad.
Yeah. Yeah, but Robbie finished 5th as well. Like that was kind of like the new era of the young boys back then, like taking over a bit.
Yeah. I was on the same flight as Happy, I think, because I transferred in Moscow. And then it was like a packed flight, but for some reason I had 3 seats. It was so weird. So I remember laying down on the seat and then the hostess came and she shouted at me in Russian. She's like, stand up and put your seatbelt on. It's funny. I got like so many random memories like this. But this kind of tournament was so sick because going into it, you felt like anybody could advance and qualify for the tournament. And it really happened here. It was Happy, Sase, and Lucifron over like me and Grubby and Creolophus.
I think the one before that one was in Hamburg, where there were also only 8 players. And I think that's the last one that I played in. Yeah. That's the one where I have a great story for the rest of you guys. Todd obviously knows this story, but there were 8 players going to Hamburg. I think Creo was there too. Zeus, Fury, Nov, DC, Grubby, me. Basically, and X-Lord, I think. And the brackets were drawn. And I got Todd in the first round. And I was like, hey, Todd. He was like, Sep. I was like, I'm going to beat you. He's like, no, you're not. You never beat me. I was like, I'm going to beat you, man. I'm confident. He's like, why are you telling me this? I was like, you want to bet? And he's like, why? I was like, I'll bet you €50. I'll beat you. And he's like, He's like, you shouldn't do that. I was like, I bet you €50, Todd. And Todd is like, okay. Then we played and he 2-0'd me. So I was like, here you go, Todd. Here's my €50. It was really sad.
Nice bet. You beat X-Lord in this one though.
Yeah.
You remember those games or?
Yeah, he played human against me, no? Or did he play?
It shows undead, but
he always played human, I think. I think he always played human against orc, but we practiced, and he hated the way that I played. I played because I played fourth year. Because he only practiced against Blade Master with his human.
Yeah.
So and obviously I still played Farseer. I mean, I played. You guys can watch the games against Todd. I played Farseer, Tauren Chieftain, Grunt, Raider, Shaman, Kodo. Okay, like I was 12 years ahead of the meta right now, but you can see the shamans I was making back then. And X-Lord hated the way I played, so I don't know if he played human or undead against me, but like he never practiced undead against orc, so that wasn't gonna work.
Yeah.
And then against orc, he could only play against Blade Master. He couldn't play against Farseer.
Creo, do you remember this tournament?
If I lost to you, I hope I don't remember it anymore. Not exactly, but it's one of those tournaments where we were a lot of people from 4K in the top 4. Yeah. We ended up having like internal tournaments.
Yeah.
Sorts.
And you beat Grubby in the lower bracket finals, actually. Yeah. Do you happen to remember these games at all, or?
No.
Should I remind you about what happened in the finals?
No. Okay, sure.
On Terna stand, a couple tanks, a couple sappers blowing up expansions and stuff.
That's probably why I don't remember it anymore.
Yeah. You erased that one from your memory.
Yeah.
Okay, so 2009. WCG 2009. I was already retired actually at this time for a bit, but I was like, well, French qualifier, can probably try and qualify. And then I qualified, went there, and made top 8, lost to Happy actually. But that was a fun one just for the experience as well, like being there with a lot of players that I knew. That was probably the last time, almost for sure, that I was going to be there with all of these guys. So I really wanted to make sure to make the most of it and really enjoy it. And it was sick hanging out. Kev, you were there casting, right?
Yeah, this was the one in Chengdu.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I remember the insane amount of fans that were there. Like, that was actually a truly epic event. It was really cool as well. But I see, like, in the group stage as well, that makes me a bit sad. You see a very big man from Kazakhstan. I don't know if you guys remember him, but he also passed away a couple of years ago. And I remember hanging out with him that event, and was a really sweet kid. Like, I took him out on his birthday, and I don't think he ever really went to, like, a big nightclub before. And, China's pretty sick. And I remember him walking around. He's like, best birthday ever.
He was a really nice guy.
Yeah, he was a real sweetheart. So that's one thing that I'll take away from that. But that was, aside from the sad part, it was a really epic event. I was happy to cast it.
Yeah, and the finals was really weird too. Like Infi lost the first games on Echo Eye in like 30 seconds.
3 minutes.
He got creep jack, lost a bunch of items, then left, and then he's like, I don't care. And then he just smashed him in the other 2.
Yeah.
And Happy had a pretty deep run as well, only losing to Infi. Moon lost to Infi as well. And Infi had an insane run, actually, throughout that brackets. Long Walk was kind of like the new school from that point, Night Elf player for America, or like just top player, I guess, in general. And Grubby lost to Lin in quarterfinals. And then Yos also kind of like a new age, because then after that he got really good and had deep runs in international tournaments. But there was no ESWC in 2009, was there?
I don't think there was, no.
I think that was the year where they stopped, yeah. Yeah, that was the Masters of Chonan. Yeah. I guess that's it, or do you guys want to look at one last tournament or two, Kev? Like the BlizzCons or whatever?
I think Clanbase 2006, mate.
Mate, are you serious?
kidding. No.
You know what? What year was it?
2006.
Or Clanbase 2003 WCL.
Is that no? That's
Warcraft
not the
really. That's the one where MTW beat you guys.
That's actually
4K.
a good one to show that, because I remember this is a fan memory for me. That was in Almere, the one that you just had on, and that is the very first time I ever met you in my life. And a couple of the other guys, first time I met Hot and stuff like that. So that was like an hour and 20 minutes or something where metros and buses for me. But I was like, if all these really cool pro gamers are in my country, I got to go out there and meet them. I remember that.
I got a funny story from this one too. So like, I was pretty deep in the tournament, then I qualified for the grand finals after beating Winner. You remember Winner, Insomnia, by the way? when we boot camp for WCG, and then he barely spoke English, and then he was like, I won't eat kebab, no win, or something.
I was wondering about what happened in WEG, because Winner was in Fnatic at the same time as me, and when he came back, he was like super good, but he quit right after.
Yeah.
So I know something happened in WEG, which he was like out of the scene afterwards.
He didn't get the kebabs he wanted, so he retired.
I shared a room with him. And he was like the best roommates. Never said a word.
And you were polite and didn't say anything either.
He agreed with everything. Okay. Was the best roommate.
But anyway, like my story from this tournament. So I qualified for the overall finals, and then I was talking to like Grubby and I think Fury was there. Yeah, we were gonna like stay at Grubby's place the last day before we left or something. And then I kept talking about like guys. So I was pretty happy, you know. I mean, the overall final. I'm like, guys, what are we gonna do later? How are we gonna celebrate and stuff? And then I played the finals and I lose. And Grubby kept asking me, so what are we doing? We're celebrating, right? Like we're gonna celebrate, right? And I was like, oh, just fucking kill me. I was like so sad. Okay, which one was it? The tournament, Kev? Like, how do I find it?
The one
was
after
the next
that.
one?
I think the page you were on, you can just go to the next edition.
No, you can't.
Go scroll down a bit. It was number 30. Oh, this is 11. I mean number 30.
Yeah. Chronology.
Yeah, but you see Clanbase Eurocup. Yeah, exactly, that one.
RIP.
Oh.
It wasn't the previous one, was it? No.
No, it was the one 2 after that was number 30. I was joking, mate. That wasn't much. That was a 4-man tournament.
Got him. I found it.
But it was a joke.
No, it wasn't. You wanted that flex in there. So beat Grubby the first time 2-1. Farseer Firelord. I bet you're real proud of this one, aren't you? Then you beat Sase. And then beat Grubby in the finals. Turtle Rock Lost Temple.
Flawless victory.
Tell us, how did it feel to be the legend? How did it feel to be the best player for Netherlands just for this one day?
It was actually really cool because this was not the first time I beat Grubby. There was another little tournament, and that one I don't think is on Wikipedia, but it was called the E-Masters in Antwerp or something. And it was like first place was €500 and second place was nothing. And I know that Giacomo was there from Czech Republic. Hazuops was there, and then a few decent Belgian players, and Grubby and me. And we all went there. And I did pretty well. And I got to the final, and I had to play against Grubby. But I was like, man, like first place 500, second place is nothing. And I was like, hey, Grubby. I was like, you want to make like a deal for, because I wanted to win money. I don't think I ever really won money before. I was like, because second place is nothing. He's like, yeah, no. He's like, that sounds fair. I was like, you want to do like 300, 200? And he's like, nah, that's a bit much. He's like, we'll do 400, 100. I was like, okay, that sounds good. So I went into the grand final. I was like, man, I'm on top of the fucking world because I already won €100, so that's all I cared about. And then I actually I did some fucking new headhunter bullshit on Echo Isles, and I won with it. And the other heroes at the other game, I just like sniped some heroes on Lost Temple, and I won that one too. So I actually won the event. I was like, oh my god, like I was so freaking happy. And then people on the internet were like, well, Robbie probably didn't even try. I heard they made a deal, So I was like, no, I proposed the soft deal and Robbie made the hard deal. He absolutely did try, but it was really sad because nobody ever gave me credit for that one.
Yeah.
But that was one that made me very happy too.
Okay. Anything else?
Was there?
Oh yeah, I was saying the Warcraft 3 League from 2000 and I think it was 3 or 4.
You mean WC3L?
Yeah.
Okay, let me see.
Which one? Where was the finals? Was it online or offline?
No, it was offline. I think
in
it was
Cologne.
Which season? The one MTW one, season 3?
Yeah, the one we won.
That was in Denmark. No? I think that was in Denmark.
That was in. It doesn't say. I think that was not in Denmark. Okay. Wait. Or at least I don't think so.
I think it might have been the next season was in Denmark because I remember I went to one of them was in Denmark.
Yeah, one of them. I don't know which one though. Let's see. I think this one might have been in Cologne. So it was the playoffs. Oh, we can't get the matches specifics, but MTW beat PG and then beat 4 Kings and then beat SK 4-1 in the finals. And I guess Wizard must have done pretty well because he asked me to pull this up. Good job, Wizard. Do you remember any matches specifically, or? Goddamn, $1,000 only for this?
Well,
And
yeah.
only the winner get paid. This is shit. You remember any games?
No,
or-
I just remember like playing. I think it was Zeus and Creo were both on 4K, and I just remember like they kept putting you guys up against me, and I was like, oh, these are like free wins at the time. I don't remember what was going on in the patch.
Okay,
but
Creo was not
probably
on
when I-
Four Kings at this point for sure.
Creative one.
well, Zeus, and then there was another Night Elf too.
Kai?
Kaije, yeah, Kai, I guess.
Yeah, the Danish guy.
And then I remember like for 2v2, it was me and Ghost Rider, and like we played like 10 ranked ladder games, and we just did the same strategy every game. And like no one copied us until the finals when I think even Grubby for Four Kings, like you and him actually just copied what me and Ghost Rider were doing.
I was playing for.
They beat you with it?
He actually played the other 2v2. Yeah, he played the other team, so we still won with ours. But he beat our other 2v2 team who like had other strategies too.
Yeah, it seems a little blurry. Because I was playing for Arma team that season with Shortround, not with Four Kings and Grubby. So
I don't think
I don't
it was
know what
that.
the
I think
fuck
it was
you're
a different
talking
year.
earlier,
I think it was the year after this. Yeah.
I joined after this.
I didn't even remember that we were on the same team at one point. I think I still have a shirt from them. They had pretty cool shirts at the time.
Yeah, even the next season, I still wasn't playing for Four Kings. I was.
Yeah, because it was a season you were on Four Kings, and I think like we actually lost to I think it was like SKGaming, and then we ended up coming from the loser bracket and playing you guys, beating you guys twice.
Okay, that might be this one here. Oh, we still
Yeah.
don't have the matches. Damn.
Fine.
And this one, MTW against Four Kings was the finals.
Yeah.
It doesn't say lineups, yeah, but I believe you. I mean, you didn't sound believable at first. I was looking at everything. Oh, yeah.
And then if you go to SKGaming, see, I forget the human player. What was his name?
It
If
doesn't
you go to
say.
their lineup.
Survivor?
Oh. Yeah, Survivor. He would tower rush me every game I played him. And I remember on Null Woods, he just tower rushed me from opposite spawns. So because I knew right going to the game, like, oh, he's gonna tower rush me 100%.
Yeah. WC Trail was actually pretty sick. I really miss a tournament like that in the current days Warcraft 3 because he was so hype. Everybody was following the matches. Dennis, I don't know if you remember, but you played from like Mouse Sports and you had like some sick results actually in WC Trail. Like I remember you beat Lucifer when you played against MYM. Do you remember what you used to do when you won games like this? Or like what you used to say?
I remember EAF.
What did you say?
I think it came from you or maybe Shore or somebody started it in Armor Team. And like after the game, they'd ask like, "Hey, how did it go?" And you just type in EAF, which stood for easy and fast.
I meant actually no. I meant what you said as like a celebratory thing. Like you used to say, "Get the fuck out of my game." And you know, I really got this habit from you. Like ever since you did that, I've been doing it so much, and now I'm streaming. I'm streaming, and then when I win like a very intense game, I always say, "Get the fuck out of my game." And then like it's funny because like some people they think it's so funny, but some other they get like really offended. They're like, "Oh my god, you're so disrespectful." I'm like, it's just like a celebratory thing that I got from Shortround. Because I remember specifically, you played Lucifer during WG Season 1. You played Lucifer, and you were rooming with me and Deadman. And then you won, and after the last game, you were like, "Get the fuck out of my game." And I was like, "Wow, this is pretty cool. Like, I'll do that too, I guess."
Yeah, it's cool, but you can't say it's polite, Todd. Come on.
Well, I don't say it to my opponent in game. I just say it on my stream. Come on.
I just typed in like I would have typed in like GG or whatever. You know, I was pretty. I remember myself being pretty mannered, but other people remember me maybe being not so mannered at times. But that does sound familiar.
Damn, 64 AMD won a WC Finals season. I didn't even remember that. And
Creo, Wagyu and Deadman?
Yeah, Creo wasn't even on the team.
It was the time when they had Deadman and Kara Wagyu.
Yeah,
and he led that.
Carrying. Yeah, and Sas and Elik like in 2-2.
Oh, and there were still 2-2-2s as well. That's pretty sick. We can browse quickly, I guess, and then I'll let you guys get some sleep. Like just through the last few seasons. Okay, next season, Four Kings showed up, and we showed up strong. I remember playing Elecduck on Lost Temple, actually. I went for Mass Griffins with 0-3 upgrades, and then Devotion level 2. His Bat Riders didn't kill much, and he was not happy. And yeah, Creolophus, that's when you started... No, you were still playing for 64 MD here.
Yeah.
And that's when we really noticed you as well. We're like, we need this guy on our team.
Well, then, then he joined Fnatic.
Yeah, I was in Fnatic afterwards. This was one of the first tournaments like where you meet like all the pros, if you want to say it like that, and you notice that okay, everything you set up, like how you use your keyboard and mouse and hotkeys and everything, you start to pick up some tricks that you don't really have when you're just gaming alone. So I remember like everyone is standing behind you, like 6 people standing when you're about to tell us stuff, some hero back, and you're like, your hand is shaking and stuff. So
I remember there was one European human player, and I remember he would like put his face so close to the screen. It was like, I don't know, like 5 inches away, and he would just be like looking like this, like around the screen, like to look at the mini map, look whatever. Do you guys remember who that was?
That sounds like Fire D, but I don't know.
But I was just like, holy shit, how does this guy play like this? Because like, how do you see the mini map? He has to like move his head down, you know?
Maybe it was spell. Or no?
Doesn't sound, I remember it was one of the Warcraft 3 leagues where I was like, I think it was in Cologne, and I was watching that. I was just like blown away that someone could play like that.
Could be spell. I don't know.
Is there any Warcraft 3 players who played with the little ball mouse?
I think a lot at first, because that's
Yeah,
what
in the
existed
beginning,
then.
I guess a lot of us did. But...
And we all played with the.
No. Not the ball in the mouse, like the from laser to ball.
No.
The actual
Are you
ball.
serious? That's ridiculous.
Well, you know, if you talk about players who had funny ticks, like Sasa always had like this. Like he would sit in front of the monitor like this, but then the more he would be losing in a game, the more he would like tilt his head, and eventually he's like almost dead, and he's like laying on the keyboard. It was like really funny. You just had to look at him, and you knew if he was winning or losing.
Damn, it's kind of sad. There's no like detailed results from some of these. I kind of would like to see like who beat who and stuff, but a lot of like familiar faces always showing up and going deep in these. Insomnia, I remember Xerax. He was like pretty close to you. Like, do you know what's going on? Is he still around?
I haven't spoken to him in years.
Yeah. He was
I don't
a cool
know.
guy, and he played like human and undead as well. You guys even played 2-on-2 and would go like banish and stuff, which nobody else really did. Like he was undead, he was coil novaing, and then you were banish bolting.
Yeah, I remember doing some crazy stuff like that with him.
Yeah,
Was a fun guy.
do you still have contact with any of the Bulgarian guys? Because I remember you guys had like a pretty tight scene back then, and like a lot of you guys, I always thought you guys were all really cool. So, do you have any contact with them? Or?
Well, we still gather together with Shocker and Star.
Ah, the Star. Yeah, okay.
We meet occasionally.
Yeah. What about Diesel? Never?
Oh, haven't seen him in a long time. No.
Okay.
All right,
Well,
guys.
give Shocker and Star some greetings from me then.
Will do.
Let's do some shout outs and then I'll let you guys get some rest. First, I would love to hear if you guys have any plans to like play a little bit on ladder and stuff. I don't know if you guys saw, but there's this guy who made W3 Arena before. He made a ladder called W3 Champions, which works pretty well. So it's a very nice ladder. So I would love to know if you guys have any plans to maybe even play just a few games. I think that'd be cool to know. And also after that, just give shout outs. Like if you want people to follow you on social media, or if you want to say hi to your mom, girlfriend, whatever. Like the last word is yours. Let's go with VankOr first.
Well, I'm playing already in this, but I only play 2 or 3 games per day, not every day, easily.
You sound real motivated, yeah.
A lot, but I don't know. I don't have the time, and I get tired. I get frustrated when I'm losing to noobs. Always mannered. I just hate when white people say just G nowadays. What is this?
Well, you get mad at this.
It's a game. It's too hard to type GG.
It's so lame, yeah.
Does that actually make you mad? If people give just one G.
I pity them. I don't know.
Yeah. Any shout outs other than
Game
that?
now and then just for fun.
Yeah. Any shout outs to like maybe the
Hoping to host a tournament in my house during the summer, but fucking COVID-19 fucked it all. So September or
yeah. Insomnia?
Yeah. was great talking to all of you guys. I'm glad that the scene is still alive. I was quite surprised actually to see how much is going on in the Warcraft scene lately.
Yeah.
No, I didn't know about that server that you mentioned. Maybe. Don't count too much on it. I played a couple hundred games a couple years ago for that tournament that Blizzard invited me to. The invitational.
Yeah, for the launch or something, or like for the patch. Yeah, they made a big patch. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was pretty fun. I played like 200 games and had lots of fun, but takes a lot of time.
Yeah. Creo?
Yeah, good talking to you guys. For me, I now actually enjoy watching streams, other people playing, just because I know they are better than me. And sometimes I find games watching how the meta has changed is very rewarding. So I will probably be watching more than playing myself going forward. So shout out to everyone doing casting and streaming and being in the community. It's actually fun to be an observer and not play. For me.
Do you ever type in the chat when you're lurking, or?
No. I'm at the big brother watching.
You should just be like Creo is watching.
Wizard?
Yeah, I'll maybe play some games in the future, but not anytime soon. But I'll still watch and cheer on, and maybe I'll actually type in the chat occasionally. For shoutouts, definitely want to give a shout out to the old MCW guys, back in the day, like Shook and Ether and, Ghost Rider, my old 2v2 partner, if they ever come back to the scene as well. Maybe we can bring back the Warcraft 3 League again.
All right. Dennis?
I might play. I played a little bit. It's really frustrating being bad. And knowing that it's going to take a lot of work to get like even decent. So that's not so motivating. But I will say, like, in my search for just a good game to play, like I bounced around from strategy game to strategy game, and like I think Warcraft 3 is still the best competitive strategy game out there. I tried playing like auto chess and TFT, and it's just not very fun. So I think for that reason, like, there's a decent chance I'll come back and play it, even if it's just casually.
Yeah.
In terms of shoutouts, I like to shout out Soul Glider. He's my like roommate best friend, and he's been playing a lot, and I want to see him get better and start to do better in the American scene.
Kev?
Yeah, that's cool. I'll play, but obviously I'm just a bit busy right now with StarCraft. There's been a lot of tournaments. I have to still cast a lot of StarCraft. Even in these days, like, because there is no traveling right now, I actually have to do more casting from home. So I will play, but I have to admit, obviously I was very disappointed about the way that the launch went and the way that Reforged turned out overall, because now in the end, all of you guys are just using the old graphics and stuff, and obviously they're good, but I felt a bit disappointed. Obviously, I think it's safe to say that we all hoped for more. I'm sure I'll play, but probably it will come after like I'm like super tilted by StarCraft or something. If like one day I just lose 17 games in a row and I wake up with queens in my bedroom or something, then I'll probably start playing Warcraft. I do like watching it though. Like I watch the Muslim play a lot of Warcraft right now. I like watching you if you're not too salty, which it goes well when you're winning, but. So yeah, you'll see me. Obviously, I'll always be around, but I can't promise that I'll be playing like hundreds of games anytime soon.
Any social media?
I play StarCraft every day. Twitch.tv/RotterdaM08. You can find me there. Hey, Inso, I have a quick question. Do you remember that once upon a time we played a late night game on Antigua Shipyard and I Void Ray all into you? Do you remember that?
I think I do. Yeah.
I went out that night with Mr. Bitter, the guy that I casted with, and we had a shit ton to drink, and I was ultra drunk. And I was like, hey man, I think I can win a StarCraft game right now. And he's like, no, you fucking idiot. You can't win a game at all. He's like, I'll bet you €100 you won't fucking win. I'm like, all right. And I searched, and then I got you on Antigua Shipyard. And I won Days Void Ray all into you, and I won, and I was so happy. It was like the greatest StarCraft victory of my life, because I could barely stare at the screen. But yeah, one base all in is a one base all in. So I want to thank you for that one.
Thank you for letting me know.
Oh my god. All right, guys, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining me. I wish you all a good night, and yeah, thanks again. And I'm sure the people feel the
Thanks,
same
everyone.
way.
Thanks.
Have a
Bye.
good night, guys. Take care, and I hope I'll see you guys around. Much love.
Yeah, you too.
Later.
Bye.
Okay, that was a really fun episode and great to chat with these guys. I kind of wish it would be longer, but I don't want to keep them here forever. It was already pretty much, I think, around 3 hours. So yeah, that was fun. I think in the future there is a decent chance I might do some interview with some of them as well, so that we can hear more in depth. You know, it's hard to talk with like 7 people. I kind of wanted to chime in myself as well in these episodes sometimes. So yeah, 7 people talking for sure. Like some people got to talk a little bit less, but it's great of them that they joined me, and thank you so much to all of these guys. I really mean it. Thanks to you guys for joining in. I hope it was fun for you too. And yeah, if you want to find more of my content, I've got a Patreon running that is connected to my Discord and YouTube. We've got different tiers and rewards, so make sure to check that out. The town hall meeting goes up on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, Podbean, SoundCloud, and many more. So you just gotta search for Todd's town hall meeting on there. If you guys want to find that, my Patreon is patreon.com/ToDGaming. And supporters get the YouTube show VODs and podcast emailed to them ASAP, and YouTube VODs, they're public usually 2 days later for the town hall meeting and for different contents at different timings. Like for example, tutorials will be 1 week later to the public. And I have a few more perks as well on the different tiers. There is priority Q&A questions, Discord perks, monthly replay packs. I'm actually about to send the one now that was kind of reset because of the patch. Custom recorded voice message you can use for a stream alert, voicemail greeting, or whatever. Ability to cast votes for the future direction of my tutorial contents, and you can submit replays for me to analyze live on stream, and much more. I actually recently recorded one of those, and I will be posting it very soon on my YouTube. So hop into my Discord and follow my Twitter for updates. Subscribe to YouTube for show VODs and game highlight videos. Thanks for watching, everybody, and see you next week.